Yellow shack at the bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and LoBaggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, LoBaggers? Happy Friday, March 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It was a great day yesterday. We had a slight winning day on Wednesday. We had a great day yesterday. Got off the MLB season in great form. If the Astros -1 had have held or pushed even, up 4-0, we sweep the board. 5-1 plus 4.02 units. It's a great way to start the season. It's a marathon, the MLB season, like no other. No other sport is a marathon like MLB. The weight of the analytics can become cumbersome. And it's good to get off to a strong start. Jose also got off to a strong start. All of our colleagues got off to a strong start. It's important. It's important. NBA, it's all about due diligence. I know that, we had Nick Red Sox in the chat, whining like a little bitch. But it's about due diligence. 4.5 hours into the show yesterday, we got into NBA. We left that Celtics-Hawks game alone. Troy talked about why he was hammering the Pelicans. First half, full game. I came with him full game. It was great. It's due diligence. It's hard work. Some of these shows are 5 hours long because we got to do our due diligence. We got to do our work. It's our work. It's what you put into life. It's what you get out of it. NHL, I slipped up a little, 2-3, down 0.79 units. And I don't know about you guys, but the feeling of watching the Blues and the Jets. Now, the Blues line went so heavy against me. The Jets line, I waited till it was at its heaviest against me. It was a sickening feeling in my stomach watching those two hockey games. It was sickening. Like I've never quite felt that before. Like I just felt sick that I was on these two spots that the market was so heavy against because I've been respecting the market so much over the last little while. And it really was like I felt sick. Every time the Flames scored, I felt more sick to my stomach. It was this crazy feeling. I left money on the board, not moving on that Avalanche. Rangers under. We talked about what happens when two Russian goalies face each other. They elevate each other's game. I left money on the table there. A shout out to Slatsy. Slatsy's call, and it was Slatsy's call on Marty St. Louis being back in Montreal for the first time since his son's injury. I imagine that, I have a 3-year-old son who has hockey skates and is, I hope, will play hockey. I can imagine that one of every parent's greatest fears is what Marty St. Louis went through. And then there's complications after the injury. He's now in stable condition and Marty St. Louis is back. If Slatsy hadn't have talked all about that to me, I would have been on the Philadelphia Flyers after that Canadiens win in Colorado. That's, again, us working together as a group and being a team, because that's what we are. We work together as a group. We work together as a team, and that's how we succeed. Okay. And I don't mean to be so heavy. I mean, it's an 8-4 day. It's a beautiful, beautiful day yesterday. And I'm heavy because the stakes are high. This is the toughest 2 weeks of the year until we get into NHL NBA playoffs. The amount of work that goes in this card is absolutely enormous. And I'm just full of pent-up stress that can easily turn into anger. I did sleep maybe about 5 hours again last night, which is great. But I'm just like, I'm a bit of a shaky mess. There's so much work that needs to go into this to succeed like we did yesterday. Do our due diligence on every sport. Enough of all that. So here we go. We have a huge card again today. We have one game in NHL. We have Bobano for NHL, Bobano for NCAA basketball and NBA. And then we get into MLB. So we have strict timelines for today's show. We will start MLB at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's in an hour and 50 minutes. Jose Bouquett will continue what we started yesterday. He'll be rolling with us. So we'll continue all of that. And I can't wait to talk to Bobano. Because I'm sure he knows. But, the funny thing about when you track everybody's action, right? You track everybody's action. There's this little knowing thing. I remember when I first went down to SBR and, Loshak didn't talk to anybody in the office. Kept his head down, didn't talk to anybody in the office. But when I got up 43 units, like when I had some of those in NHL, when I had some of those big nights in NHL, he would look up at me. He'd walk in, he would look up at me. And it's because, he was tracking my action. He knew I just went up 8 units last night in NHL. And I can't wait to talk to Bobano about his last appearance on the show, which was 2 weeks ago. And there was the conference tournament play, and we'll get him on here. All right. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Sorry about the long monologue. I don't mean to have one off the top because we have so much work to do. Morgan Spooner in the house. MLB play today is the Brewers money line at -105, and he's liking Creighton. I love cappers like Morgan. Just selfless, just need to come in to let us know their plan to show the teamwork that we have and that we are. And I just respect that so much, Morgan. Brewers money line. -105 favorite. College basketball playing today. Creighton +3. There's Ilya Katz in the house. Perky Bump Sanderson says Brewers money line best bet of the day on the card. Said Quintana looked like a AAA pitcher this spring, and it's cold, windy, and chilly. Wow, I can't wait to talk about that. Okay, so Perky Bump's also best bet is on the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's copy and paste that. I'm going to do my best to copy and paste these spots, and maybe Jose, you do such a good job of putting stars in our StreamYard for the chats that I need to, pay attention. If we can keep that going. Serious business in the house. Shout out to O'Brien Palmer. Says amazing capping by everyone yesterday. Hit 10 out of 11 plays. Great job, O'Brien Palmer. And thank you so much for that, Dono. It's not the house's money. It's your money. And thank you for sharing it with the channel. And I'm so glad that you had a monster day. That's what it's all about. It feels so good when things are going your way. Like a couple things happened in MLB. That Pittsburgh Pirates Marlins game was the sweat of all sweats. Jose and I are going back and forth because Jose had the team total over, which I wish I had, but we both had the money line. It was a sweat of all sweats. It was like it was October, day one of opening day. It was one of the biggest sweats I've ever had. It felt like. Wow. Justin McKelvey, Stacks play today. Tucker, let's get Tucker here. Let me get this Perky Bumps here. Kyle Tucker for our guy, Justin McKelvey, over 1.5 bases. A Rube Boy in the house. Troy Torrance. What a call, Troy. What a call on the Pelicans. Your confidence. Just it was that we're 4 hours into the show there, man. And you brought the thunder. You brought it. Old E ready to get to work. Kelly McInnes coin. North Ender says cooked them yesterday. 4-0 college basketball. I love it. Jay Smooth balls play there. Ross Stripling under 3.5 strikeouts. Now, Ross Stripling is finally where he belongs. Oakland Coliseum, playing for the A's. Finally where you belong. There is Nordy in the house. Look at this. This is what it's all about. Said surgery went very well. Doctor said just in recovering now. Thanks for all the wishes, PSR. Oh, Nordy, that's what it's all about. That's the most important. That's the most important comment in the show today, by far. I love hearing that, Nordy. I love hearing that. I have this real good feeling. It's not just like wishful positivity. Sometimes you just know. And for this one, I know. Love you, Nordy. Great news about Rebecca. Rocco Rogers ready to get to work. Smashed and cashed last night. Sammy Calmer. Tennis actions. Zverev. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Zverev. -140 for Sammy Calmer. Follow that man's tennis action. Wine Time Sports. Kent Davies says, I like the New Jersey Devils. They already bet them team total over 3.5. Not sure if I want to add money line or not. We're going to talk about that here right away. Trill OG play today is the Houston Rockets team total over 118.5. Because I like the Devils too, but I haven't moved on it either. But I want to, and I plan to. I just kind of wanted to talk it out. With this kind of a line, I don't feel like I need to rush it. I just want to talk it out. Joey Harb, Rants, the Sweaty Butcher, Dan Kelly in the house. look at Dan. God, he's such an example of who we are as a group. Just the accountability. This guy gave out futures nonstop that cashed nonstop for people. Wemby to lead the league in blocks at 13-1 goes down to plus 270, 290 at the end of the year, or 190. But sorry, before the season started. Gave out the Magic to win the division at 10-1 with Dennis Garcia. They were both on that. Gave out the Bucks at. He gave out the Cavaliers to win the division at 7.5-1, and then gave out the Bucks to win that same division at plus 275 at the All-Star break. He said, I have to apologize to someone in this chat back in October. We were talking NBA futures. Somebody suggested Wemby, Defensive Player of the Year at 30-1. I said, no, they don't give that award to players on bad teams. And he says, that wasn't just horribly wrong, but you should never talk someone off a big dog bet, no matter what it is. I'm sorry, I feel like an idiot. You are not an idiot. You are the best of us, Dan. You're the absolute best of us. And even being consciously aware of that line from back from the beginning of the year is just why you're just the best of us. And I mean that. Rodney Barton ready to get to work. Kong's Clips in the house. New York best bet check mark. That was wild going up against you. Kong's not a position I want to be in because you're talking about Yanks, I imagine. And it was beautiful. Rants, Bo Jackson, Big Scott parlay of the day. There we go. Knicker Red Sox has his knickers in a bunch already. Nice to see. Rants, Joe Walsh, Jay Peasy, Julian Cesario, 3-0 on day one. Tori Coker and Dan Kelly said, yep, Sharpie posted Bieber over 6K, super sharp, easy winner. Yeah, we got to get Sharpie involved. So Sharpie, excellent work. Hunter Engelhart, another guy we want involved. There's Noli knows. There's so many guys. TJ, so many cappers that MLB comes around. They're just so sharp. Bo Jackson, Ick Schnizzle, Nate Dogg 420. Great to see all of you guys. Justin McKelvey, Sammy Calmer, Jake Burns, Key and VP says, I'm just recovering from yesterday. I'm sorry that things didn't go your way, my man. DC Capper, all you guys, thank you for being here. Joe T in the house, best bet Milwaukee Brewers here. A lot of love for the Brew Crew. Here we go. I love it. All right, Leonard Porsche Jr. said, had my best day of 2024 yesterday. Going to be ultra selective today. I know how this works. Schnizzle says, love me some NC State. Bubbarito says, it's time, baby. Went 6 for 6 yesterday in MLB. I love seeing all this. Pig Milk play today. New Jersey Buffalo over 6.5. 14-8 plus 6.72 units is the Pig Milk play of the day. And it's great to see all of you guys. Okay. Daniel Hernandez says, I'm trying a new strategy for Nerfy all year, each game. A new strategy, Nerfy, all year, each game. Daniel Hernandez, the great thing about what we do is you track it. That's all. You track it. And if it's working, it's the most important thing. And if anybody needs help tracking their action with spreadsheets, just hit me with a DM on Twitter, and I can help that. And there's Sharpie in the house, says, raise your hand if you called Bieber to have the most strikeouts on day one. 5-1 on the young season, but we 0-0 today. Perfectly put, Sharpie. Perfectly put. Caleb Morrison going 5-2 yesterday. I love seeing all this. Now we got to stay in our shoes, all of us that succeeded enormously yesterday. Just like Sharpie said, we're 0-0 yesterday. Let's get started. Please welcome our guest today, Friday, March 29th. He will be capping NHL, NCAA basketball, and NBA with us. Coming to us from Canada's black and yellow steel town. Please welcome Mr. Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Jimmy. It's funny you dropped the news on me. Jose's taking the reins of baseball on this show on a daily basis. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to miss it. And then the other part of me this morning realizes maybe I'm not going to miss it. It was a lot of fucking work and time I had to put into prep for baseball every time I did it on this show on Fridays. I won't miss that part of it. Excited to be back and good to see everyone. And a huge Friday. I mean, what's there not to like? I mean, you got Sweet 16, you got one NHL game, you got NBA, MLB. Great time of year.
It is a great time of year. Bobano, I want to mention what you did 2 weeks ago, the last time you were here. In college basketball, it was conference tournament time. You gave out 35.
I did say that's one of my favorite times of the year, conference tournaments. Yeah.
And you gave out 35 bets on that show. 35 bets. And 2 pushes. So 33 bets counted for me. And it didn't start out great. You started out 2-7. And I was nervous. I was nervous when I was, putting in your record keeping. Then you rang off 8 straight winners and you lost one. Then 3 straight winners and then you lost one. And then 6 straight winners. And then you lost one. 2 straight winners and you closed with 2 losses. So you went there for a little stretch. 17-2.
Wow.
Over a 19-game stretch. Bobano, look up at me. Great fucking work.
I appreciate it.
It's so important. It's so important.
Yep.
It's so goddamn important to what we do here, because everything is accountable and everything is tracked honestly. And sometimes it makes you feel great, and sometimes it's embarrassing. And it's just what we do here. And it just meant so much to me. It meant so much to me. You delivering on that level. It meant so much to me. So
No,
thank you.
Wow. If it meant that much to you, what did it mean to me? Because it was definitely, you could definitely tell when you looked at the account after a day like that. But yeah, no, it's great. Look, I'm a variance capper. You know, there's going to be some really shitty days and there's going to be some really incredibly fucking awesome days when you're high volume like this. And that was one of the awesome days. And to be honest, actually, conference tournaments, one of my favorite, most profitable times a year. I think conference tournaments for me are even more profitable than the actual tournament that we have going on right now. So it was great to see those results 2 Fridays ago. Glad we could deliver, and appreciate the kind words. And I'm glad, like I said, hopefully a lot of the people in the chat jumped in and cashed in along with me.
It was great. It was absolutely great. Andre McCool says, hello, Jimmy. Love to listen to you. God love and keep you safe, and happy Good Friday to all of you. Very, very wonderfully put, Andre McCool. Happy Good Friday to all of you guys. We got best bets coming in really quickly as well. Astros money line. Let me grab that here from BJ. He also gave us the Houston Cougars. Oh, no, I got them both there. Okay, it's great. It's great to see all you guys. Let's get right to work. We also have
Freddie Peralta over strikeouts. I know I'm not doing MLB on this show, but I'll just tell you what I like in that early game. That's the only thing I bet was Peralta over strikeouts.
Oh, I love it. And let me get TJ's best bet as well. So right here. So TJ's best bet. Now, that's not the gift, but it's a best bet. And then we're also going to get the Peralta. What was the number for Peralta over strikeouts?
Let me just double check on that. But the strikeout props were good for me yesterday. I know Sharpie's good with them, but last year I really started to dive into them a lot more and do a lot more work on them, and it ended up playing out pretty well. I know I had Reagan's and Pablo Lopez strikeouts yesterday. I came up short with Scooble. That was frustrating. His was over 6.5. He ended with 6. But it was pretty good. Yeah, over 6.5 for Peralta, plus 116.
You got it locked in. All right, it's time to get to work, guys, and we got to move quickly. And thank you for being here. Let's continue the roll that we are on. We start in NHL, just one game in NHL before we get into college basketball. Again, MLB starts at 1 p.m. It starts in 1 hour and 37 minutes. 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the New Jersey Devils, 36-33-4, 19-15-2 on the road. The Buffalo Sabres, 34-34-5, 17-18-1 at home. We're at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. Jake Allen, 10-14-3, 3.39 goals against average, 900 save percent going up against. I've got Devin Levi listed. Do you have Levi listed?
In this game, I believe he's projected. The last I saw, I'm going to see if there's a confirmation that he's in. Just projected still. Yeah.
Projected. TJ with a $5 dono says Toronto first 5 money line. A lot more coming this season. Let's go. You're the man, TJ. And let's go Rangers after that big win in Colorado last night. Respect. And thank you, TJ, for the dono. It means a ton to us. Okay. New Jersey Devils, 22.6% power play, 81.4% penalty killing. Buffalo, 16.1% power play, 78.8% penalty killing. Let's get into NHL right now. So odds-wise for this one, the lone game on the card, we're going to be using Pinnacle openers. Let me just move over here quickly. We have New Jersey sitting at minus 116. They opened up at minus 104. And, I would already bet it if Buffalo wasn't embarrassed. I did kind of want to see the market mature, but I would have bet it if they didn't get embarrassed by Ottawa 6-2, but I'm still maybe going to move on it. I still expect to move on. Still will probably move on it. Over 6.5 minus 115. It's interesting because this had been juiced to the under. Well, this had moved 8 cents towards the under, but it's back. It's right back to where it started. This had moved to the under, but it's back in action. So the Devils coming off their second straight win in fourth and 5 games, 6-3 at the Leafs on Tuesday. They're 4-2-0 when Jake Allen starts. I've said some really negative things about Tom Fitzgerald, and I really liked him in his playing days. Here's a guy who played 21 seasons through college and the AHL and the NHL. He never, in all those 21 seasons, did he average more than a point a game. Yet he was a first-round pick, 18th overall, because of his character. He played on one of any person my age, favorite teams, the 1995 and 1996 Florida Panthers. Went all the way to the Stanley Cup final in the third season of their franchise and lost to the Avalanche in 4 games. You guys remember that? Uwe Krupp scored the overtime goal in game 4 for a 1-0 win. Fitzgerald was on that team. You remember they would throw the rats on the ice because of the Scotty Mellenby slapping the rat in the dressing room off the wall, and it was magic. So I wanted to say those nice things about Tom Fitzgerald because I really liked him as a player. But he cost a good man, Lindy Ruff, his job because he didn't get the Devils a goaltender. And it's on him. Does Lindy Ruff get to drive his Mercedes to Prudential Center, Tom? You do, Tom. You fucking do. And you don't deserve to. This is all your fault. Jake Allen comes in. They're 4-2 with Jake Allen as their goaltender. Why did you not do something earlier? This is all on you. The Devil season is on your head, Tom Fitzgerald, and you cost a good man a job. And now I don't like you. Now I dislike you very much. And I liked you so much as a player. Okay, let's move on here. So the Sabres coming off their third loss in 4 games, 6-2 at home to the Senators on Wednesday. It was their first game back from a 5-game road trip. We knew it was a tough spot. They're a pretty healthy group. They're only missing Jordan Greenway and Lucas Rusek, who are both day-to-day. Matthias Samuelsson is out for the season. We know that. That's been going on for a long time. A very important defenseman. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Devils, Sabres.
Yeah, this is obviously a Devils team that looks a little resurgent all of a sudden with what we've seen from them. 4-1 in their last 5 games. Pittsburgh, Winnipeg beating them. They had the 5-2 loss to Ottawa, and I thought, well, there goes the momentum, and maybe there goes the playoffs. But, they've won 2 in a row, bounced back strong, shutting out the Islanders. Somehow Kaapo Kahkonen shut out the Islanders. I'm still stunned by that, but he did. And then they beat Toronto 6-3, and they were only in that game and only beat Toronto because of Jake Allen. Jake Allen was incredible in that game. Over 40 shots he faced. He's been great. I mean, it's hard to believe this is the same Jake Allen that was really a below-average goaltender much of the season in Montreal. He wasn't playing well with the Canadiens this year. He comes to New Jersey, and all of a sudden he looks like Grant Fuhr. I mean,
but he wasn't the number one.
Yeah.
They didn't let him play 50. He never knew when he was going to go in. I don't mean to interrupt, but he feels like he had to go somewhere to be a selfish goal. He wants to play 60 games a year, but my apologies for interrupting, my man.
Yeah, no, he's in rhythm now, and that's the thing. He does have a better team in front of him, a little bit at least, compared to Montreal, and he's thriving with it. And I think he's been reinvigorated too by the fact that at least with this team, there's at least a chance to make the playoffs, a chance to make a push to get into the postseason. They're not totally out of it yet. They're still only 5 points back of Washington for that second wild card spot. The problem is Washington's got a game in hand, so they've got to keep winning. It's simple as that. They have very little margin for error right now, the New Jersey Devils, and we'll see if they can keep it going. Look, I know Buffalo was embarrassed against Ottawa. I thought it was a great spot to take Ottawa. I was on first period money line with Ottawa. It couldn't have been any easier with Buffalo off the road trip. Ottawa playing spoiler, good hockey late in the season now that they're out of the playoffs like they always do. Buffalo should come back with a better effort and some pride, but I don't trust them enough to beat a New Jersey team that's playing for everything right now and a goaltender that's playing extremely well. We'll see if that can continue here in this game tonight. One thing that I do want to point out is we have seen significant high-scoring matchups with these two teams repeatedly over and over again. No pun intended. I mean, 4 straight overs, 5-4, and then the last 3 games, all won by New Jersey, 6-2, 5-4, and 7-2. We've seen a lot of goals when these two teams meet up, and that's what I actually am going to split this up because I kind of think New Jersey does win, but I'm going to probably go with the team total instead. That way I don't have to worry about what Buffalo does, because I expect Buffalo to be peppering Jake Allen again, much like Toronto did. The one thing New Jersey's still doing is they're giving up a ton of shots, and Jake Allen has needed to be this good, in order for the Devils to win these games that they have. I mean, he has not faced an easy night or an easy workload in many of these games since he's joined this New Jersey Devils team. So I'm going to do 2 bets here in this game. New Jersey team, and the New Jersey team total, I think, makes sense. Over 3.5 plus 112 right now at Pinnacle. In the last 4 head-to-head meetings, New Jersey has scored 4, 6, 5, and 7. So in all 4 games, they have scored at least 4 goals. The last 4 times they've taken on the Buffalo Sabres. Not to mention, we've seen them score 4+ in each of their last 4 victories. They've scored at least 4 goals as well. So I like that team total over 3.5 plus 112. Regardless of who's in net for Buffalo, I think it might be Levi, but we don't know. And even if it's UPL, we saw UPL get obviously just absolutely bombarded by Ottawa early in that game. The goalie decision doesn't really impact my decision here. So New Jersey team total over 3.5. I'm also going to go with this full game over here with the Devils and the Sabres in this game. You can get that right now over 6.5. Right now minus. Let me just get the price here. Minus 1. That's baseball, not hockey. But yeah, over 6.5 here. Devils and Sabres in this one. Minus 112 at Bet Rivers.
Oh, sorry, -1. Okay, so let me ask you this. Before I move on the New Jersey Devils, we talk about, Fitzgerald not going, he didn't come close to going all in or anything like that. He didn't fix the team when we knew Dougie Hamilton was on the LTIR and was going to have the opportunity to spend some money. Maybe ownership said no. I mean, I'm not privy to those conversations. Right now, Curtis McDermott is day-to-day with a lower body injury, and Jonas Siegenthaler has been out with a concussion. Bastian and Nolan Foote, not Cal. We know what Cal's doing in London, Ontario, but Nolan Foote and Nathan Bastian, 2 forwards who are out. But so you have McDermott and Siegenthaler out. Do I want to put my money on a defense that has Kevin Ball and John Marino as the top unit, Luke Hughes and Nick DeSimone in the second unit, Simon Nemec and Brendan Smith as the third unit? Do I want to put my money on that defense, Bobano?
Well, that's exactly why I'm betting the team total, right? I don't have to worry about that defense, right? With the team total, I don't have to worry about that defense. They can give up 5. I don't give a shit. It's actually good for me because I like the full game over. So as long as New Jersey scores 4 goals, I'm happy. And I think they will in this game. That's exactly why I like the team total, Jimmy. If the Sabres have one shred of dignity, one shred of pride, one shred of self-respect, you've got to show something. After the way that game went against the Ottawa Senators, boot off the ice in your own home rink after the first period the other night, you got to show something. So that's why I think Buffalo can score in this game against this Devils team, even with Allen and net, who's been great. For me, I think New Jersey does win the game, but because you're clearly talking money line when it comes to New Jersey. That's why I like the team total, because I don't trust that Devils blue line. They are giving up a ton of shots. Allen's going to have to be great, probably, if Buffalo's going to stay off the scoreboard tonight. So I don't have to worry about that with the team total. And like I said, Jimmy, with New Jersey, each of their last 4 wins during this 4-1 streak that they're on, they've scored at least 4 goals. So eliminate the defensive concerns, and for me, take the team total.
Well, I can't bet the New Jersey Devils, and it sucks.
Oh, very interesting. You've talked yourself out of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to take a closer look at your team total, but I can't. I can't do it.
Plus, you get a better price, plus 112 than minus 114.
I can't do it. I think that I feel like I'm just going to probably stay off of the spot now. This stuff is just, it's too important. It's too important to win I can't sit here and put my money, my family's money. Well, it's my own gambling account. Obviously, it's not nothing to do with the family, but it still is. It's our money.
Still money that can support, the
I can't do it
of yours. Exactly.
I can't do it.
I know what you're getting at. Yes,
I can't do it with that defense. I can't do it. I can't do it with Tom Fitzgerald driving his Mercedes into the Prudential Center, drinking
really don't like that guy.
He's probably drinking a $25 coffee right now.
I can't badmouth him. Jimmy Murphy's a good friend of his. And that's
Jimmy Murphy's great. Well, of course, everybody wants to be friends with Tom Fitzgerald. He's a huge high character guy, but
yeah.
Okay.
No, I
All
agree.
right.
He's butchered this. He has it a little bit. There's no doubt. But let's not act like Lindy Ruff's absolved of any blame. He had Alexander Holtz on the fourth line. That's totally absurd. The guy's a great offensive talent, and now he's been freed from that, punishment, freed from that purgatory, and playing actually on the second line recently for Travis Green, and he's playing well, at least offensively. I know defensively he's got his issues, but he can't be on a fourth line. His offense is his strength. He's going to not do anything for you offensively if you put him on a fourth line. So that's the one thing I didn't like about Lindy Ruff. He never gave that guy a fair shot.
He's an old school coach, and you got to
Yeah.
earn stuff. And sometimes old
Yeah.
school coaches make mistakes with young talent. And
Yeah.
it's same in the NBA. Old school coaches make mistakes with young talent. But I hear what you're saying. All right, I'm off. Sadly, I'll be watching, but I'm off. Let's move on to college basketball. If I had have tweeted out all of my bets, which we're all hanging out together drinking, my record would look much better. Not much better, but 4.5 units better than it is. But that's fine. We're still in the black. Your record buoyed by that spectacular Friday 2 weeks ago. Let's get to work here.
We're at the point where, barring a collapse, and I don't have a ton of plays on the 4 games tonight, so we won't have one. But we should secure a profitable season on this show in college basketball, which is nice.
Yes, I expect that to happen as well. Let's get down to business here in college basketball. It was a phenomenal finale. It was so many fun games yesterday, and the Husky train full steam ahead and very, very scary. Let's roll. 7:09 p.m. Eastern, Bobano. We start with the 11th seed NC State Wolfpack, 24-14, still here after this Valvano-like magical run from 1983. Still here in the Sweet 16. Who would have thunk it a month ago? NC State Wolfpack versus a very dangerous number 2 Marquette Golden Eagles, 27-9. We're at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Let's get this all set up here. Obviously, I should have been. I should have had NC State on my stuff. But it's all hindsight's always 20/20. NC State took out Texas Tech 80-67. That surprised me. They barely got past Oakland. That's sort of where I thought they were as a team, like a heart and soul team that's going to barely get past teams. Marquette took out Western Kentucky, took out the Hilltoppers, and then beat a good Colorado team. So they're tested. They're a tested group. We've known that all year. Let's get into the line history and the cash flow and hear what Bobano has to say about this spot. We're using Bet Online openers. Again, I love that my bookie's going to the forefront with the anonymous gambler going to the forefront to try to get the lines out first. I respect it so much. And again, either of those books, Bovada as well, if you want, if you're opening up a new account, if you do it at Pub Sports Radio, you'll get nice bonuses. The best bonuses at Bet Online, 100% up to $1,000. Rollover is not that big. And it's not a Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin. Every other place you click that link, it's Bitcoin only, not ours. Let's get to work here. We have NC State opening up at a plus 6.5. They're now plus 7. We have a half-point move towards Marquette. When we get to the total, we're sitting here at 151. This opened up at 150, a 1-point move to the over. When we get to the cash flow here, 37% of the tickets and 70% of the cash is on Marquette, and a half-point move towards them. 75% of tickets and 82% of cash on the over, and we've seen it slightly climbed. Torrey Coker, NC State plus 7, and money line is his best bet. Sammy Cummer, NC State money line. And Troy Torrance says he's not surprised by NC State's run. One thing that I talk about all the time is how there's no fairy tales in Shawshank. And I let these fairy tale spots go or bet against them because I know how relentlessly difficult life is. And I don't, I'd love to hear your breakdown. Take it away, Bobano.
Go bold or go home. NC State money line plus 260. Sign me up. Put it on the board. I like the points too, but I'm going to go straight for the money line because I do kind of feel like if Marquette wins, they might pull away, and maybe NC State runs out of gas. To me, it's like if Marquette wins, they cover, and if NC State covers, they win outright. It's kind of what I think happens here in this game. Again, if Marquette wins, they probably cover. If NC State covers, they probably win. That's the way I kind of see this game going here. I don't know if there's a scenario where Marquette wins, but NC State stays inside the 7. So that's why I'm going to end up going toward NC State money line. Because look, I mean, if you look at Marquette, I think overall you've got to think their roster's better. They've obviously got their best player, their point general back, Tyler Kolek, who looks like he's getting stronger with each game. And that's definitely going to be something that concerns me. Another thing that concerns me, too, is NC State's pick and roll defense is a little shaky at times. And that's what Marquette is going to do a lot in this game. A lot of pick and roll, a lot of screen and roll action. And, if NC State, shows those warts that they did at times during the season against that kind of offensive set, then there could be some issues for them. But I also think with the way they call him the dancing bear, is playing right now for NC State, DJ Burns, who, everybody's kind of fallen in love with him. I think that's going to be an advantage for NC State. I don't know if Marquette can contain him. And I like Iguodaro. Iguodaro is a good player down there. But I think when you look at this NC State team, they've got him playing at an absolutely pristine level. You obviously have what you're getting from DJ Horn, from Morcell as well. You're getting shot making as well from NC State. What concerned me all season about NC State before this brilliant run is the defensive side of the basketball was atrocious at times. This is a team that gave up 81 points at the end of the regular season to Pitt, 85 points to Louisville. And yet somehow here they are now giving up nothing but 60s for the most part and low 70s in the majority of these games. And here in the tournament, their defense has been even better. It's like, where did this come from for Kevin Keatts' team here in the last several games? So NC State's got this magic to them. And the one thing that I got in trouble with last night, and I probably should have, I was worried about Arizona, but I still said, you know what, Clemson's magic's going to run out here last night against Arizona. But it didn't. It didn't. They won, and they were the better team for 40 minutes in that one. I think it's probably a little more difficult matchup here for NC State versus Marquette than it was for Clemson versus Arizona. But still, I think the NC State magic can go. And like I said, I think this game is at least competitive. And I'm going to just go for the money line because I could see this very much like if Marquette wins, they're going to pull away. And if NC State covers, they likely are going to win the game in outright fashion. So plus 260 money line for me, NC State.
It's such an exciting game. It's such a fascinating breakdown there. And the chat agreeing with you completely, except for Logan. Logan and Billy Friedrich on the other side. Shout out to Scotty Rock. You were a monster yesterday. Best bets. Max play was on the Huskies. There's also other max play was Orioles -1.5. And my mistake, and I care so much about the psychology behind action, was not realizing that Baltimore was going to step up for their city. And who cares what the market is doing? That was a mistake. I can't let these mistakes happen. I can't let them happen. I need to talk about them out loud to ensure that I don't let that happen again or often. And then we have Johnny Gunn says, give me the under. So we've seen this move to the over. Also, Johnny Gunn's, whenever I'm on an under and Bobano doesn't move on the over, I should track those because I get very confident. What do you think of Johnny Gunn's being on under? And we got to keep it tight because it'd be great if we could get to. I think we're doing okay. But what do you think of the total here? Why aren't you on the over? And will that give Johnny Gunn's more confidence on the under?
Well, early in the year, I probably would have liked the over a lot, but it's 151. Marquette's not playing as fast here in the NCAA tournament. That's clear. And even in the Big East tournament, they're not playing with that Shaka Smart run and gun, push the ball up the basketball court type of pace that they did early in the season. And, even NC State's pace numbers have kind of gone down a little bit here in the tournament so far. I mean, the only reason that Oakland game went over the total was because of overtime. That game was way under the total. Yeah. The game before that against Texas Tech stayed under the total. Total was 148, landed on 147. So to me, this is a high total for two teams that aren't playing as fast pace-wise as they once did. Possessions per game haven't been as high. And, with the fact that I think as far as NC State's offense goes, Marquette could trouble them a little bit. And on the flip side, too, with Marquette, with the way NC State's ramped things up on the defensive end, 151 seemed a little high to me in this game, especially when I look at Clemson, Arizona last night, because I did like the over in that game, and it got off to this very slow start. Still almost went over the total. If, Arizona maybe decides to foul a couple more times, it might have went over the total last night. But this is a pretty high total considering lately the pace hasn't been as high. The defense has been a little bit better from both teams.
It's going to be a really fun basketball game, and the next one's going to be so much fun too. 7:39 p.m. Eastern. We have the Midwest Region Sweet 16. The number 5 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs, 27-7 this year, versus number 1 Purdue Boilermakers, 31-4, Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, I think McNeese and a beat up Kansas team is not the toughest competition, but they really soundly defeated both of those squads. It wasn't close. That second half against Kansas was just domination. For Purdue, they've destroyed Grambling, and then you really saw who they were against Utah State. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jake Flanagan in the house. Anthony Richardson, great to see you. Tone Miggins, Houston, first half -2.5, -110. And Purdue, first half. Oldie says this game here, can't wait to watch it. So let's pull this one up and set this up for Bobano. From a spread perspective, we are sitting here with a -5.5. This opened up -4.5. We have a 1-point move towards the Boilermakers. From a total side of things, this opened up at 154. It's now 154.5 and -115. So a half point and 5 cents of juice. When we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 60% of the tickets and 72% of the cash on Gonzaga. Well, obviously, that makes me want to bet Purdue. 44% of the tickets and 99% of the cash is on the under. That's wild. We're not talking about 52,597 tickets. Bobano, game 2, Gonzaga, Purdue, my man.
What Troy Torrance and Johnny Guns are talking about in the chat is 1,000% right, in my opinion. I think that's exactly the way you've got to approach this game. I think early in the game, it could be a little bit of a shock to the system. I mean, on paper, you're going to look at it like, wow, did you see what Gonzaga did last weekend? They beat the shit out of Kansas. And I loaded up on Gonzaga, believe it or not, in that game. I said, this Kansas team is a shambles. They are absolutely injury-riddled, depleted, short turnaround. Hunter Dickinson, I'm convinced, was not 100%. McCullough wasn't playing. They have no bench, no depth. Gonzaga's going to take it to them. And it took a while. It was close early, but it was all Gonzaga in the onslaught in the second half. I love Gonzaga in this spot. This is different, though, because you look at it and think, wow, they pummeled Kansas. They can absolutely hang with Purdue, right? I think Purdue's a lot better than Kansas. It's not even close. I mean, Purdue's got the guard play for Purdue is improving. That's the key to this team, I think. It's that if their guard play can make shots from beyond the arc, it takes Purdue into that stratosphere where it's going to be damn difficult to beat them. So we know Zach Edey is going to draw his fouls. He's going to get, putbacks and layups, and it's going to be very difficult to handle him around the rim. There's no question about that. But if you're going to get, Braden Smith and Lance Jones and Fletcher Lawyer, stepping up, making shots here for Purdue, that's going to make them almost a team that it's very difficult to beat them when that happens. So that's going to be the critical element for Gonzaga. I still don't know if Gonzaga's defense is great, because I know they played great in the second half, but there were a lot of uncontested missed shots by Kansas that turned that game into a blowout on last weekend. The kind of shots that maybe Purdue will not miss as much. But like I said, I think what Troy and Johnny are saying is right. I think if you like Purdue, they could easily in the first half, I think, have the edge, because I think you're right. Handling Edey early in the game could be difficult. I like Graham Ike. I do, for Gonzaga. The big for them. That their best big guy. They got him from Wyoming. Great transfer addition by Mark Few, and he's a really good player. But I still don't think he's got that physical ability to handle Zach Edey. He's good, but I think he's still going to be in tough trying to deal with Zach Edey down low in this game here for Gonzaga in this spot. And I think as far as the rebounding is concerned, that's been an issue at times for Gonzaga, and it's an issue where Purdue could absolutely destroy Gonzaga as far as the board battle and the rebounding battle here in this game. So my approach is going to be, I haven't bet anything side-wise. I do have an official play on this game, but it's the total. The side, I don't in this game, but I would lean first half Purdue as well. And my approach is going to be, I'm going to look to a live bet with Gonzaga at halftime or at some point live during the game, assuming Purdue gets the early jump on Gonzaga, as I expect. Because Mark Few's a hell of a coach, Jimmy. We know that, right? And we saw the way Gonzaga played in the second half. They're a good second half team, good adjustments type of team. I'm not saying Matt Painter isn't, but Mark Few, I'll put him right up there with anybody. So if Gonzaga has a bad start, I think they probably still have a chance maybe to get back in this game. So it goes back to what Troy and Johnny were saying. If you like Purdue, bet them first half. If you like Gonzaga, take them full game, because I could definitely see this game being something like that here. But my official play is the over. It's probably my favorite total tonight on the card. Over 153.5 minus 125 at let me see. Yeah, ProLine Plus. Over 153.5 minus 125 at ProLine Plus. Offensive advantages both sides. I think Gonzaga is going to be able to take advantage of that backcourt, which is suddenly starting to shoot a little bit better. And they're also going to push the ball in transition at every opportunity, one of the faster paces in college basketball. And if there's one issue that Purdue's had at times defensively, the transition defense has not always been good. Okay, so that's an area where I think Gonzaga off live ball turnovers could really do some damage. Like I said, I like what I've seen from Anton Watson's really had a good tournament so far. You're getting Braden Huff stepping up as well. Hickman and Nemhard's been better at the point guard spot. This is definitely a team that offensively has picked it up and turned it up a couple of notches here the last several games, including here in the tournament. So I think they're going to have some offensive success, but I think Gonzaga is going to have a difficult time handling Edey. He's going to get easy baskets. He's going to get putbacks and layups. He's going to get offensive rebounds like crazy because nobody's got the physical ability, size-wise, to deal with him. Like I say, Ike is going to try, but I don't think Ike is going to have the ultimate success against him down low in the low post in this game. So Purdue's going to have their offensive advantages in this game, and I still have my questions about Gonzaga defensively even after the Kansas win. And I think Gonzaga offensively with their improved shooting and their transition game, which can trouble Purdue. Purdue's one weakness defensively is in transition. They can have some issues at times. So put it all together. The pace will be high for Gonzaga. Purdue won't play at a blistering pace, but we've seen Purdue at times is more than willing to run with the opponent when there's an opportunity. So I think this is definitely a high-scoring game, over 153.5 for me.
You got over 153.5 minus 125, and we need to move on. But what's happening here, what I'm hearing is that your fear of Mark Few is trumping the idea that the Gonzaga bigs will be in foul trouble late.
They could be. You're right. I mean, and keep in mind, how many Purdue games have we all watched? A lot. And especially lately because they're in the tournament. It's been foul city on Zach Edey. They're calling everything like they really are. And I'm not saying it's not warranted, but he is getting the whistle, the benefit of the whistle every fucking game, every time. Zach Edey. And they don't have, Jimmy, a lot of depth in the front court. Gonzaga, not at all.
That's why I was thinking full game for sure. Yeah. And then all this first half talk is throwing me for a loop. But let me.
But you could also look at it this way: if they're down early, they have the offense, Gonzaga, and the pace because they can force turnovers and get easy buckets to shoot their way back into the game if they fall behind early. And they got a great coach as far as adjustments are concerned in Mark Few. But I don't know if there's any adjustments. You could bring Red Auer back in here to coach this team after halftime, and I don't know if he'll be able to adjust well enough if their bigs are all in foul trouble. I agree with that part of your analysis there.
Well, it's the only way to make this work. Then I guess I'm 100% on Purdue full game. So I guess I got to go first half and full game.
I would split it up personally. If you're going to go full game on Purdue, I would want a piece of the first half too.
All righty. That was the Midwest Region Sweet 16 at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, Gonzaga, Purdue. We move on. 9:39 p.m. Eastern. We have the South Region Sweet 16. The number 5 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs, 27-7. First. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Jesus, I wrote this down twice. God, I just such a lack of sleep. So sorry. But Jose knows what game it is. The number 4 seed Duke Blue Devils, 25-8 versus the number 1 seed Houston Cougars. I'm just going to read it. Aloud. That's what I was going to do. That's what happens when you don't sleep. So we have Duke with pretty easy competition. Vermont and James Madison, they destroy them both. They have all of this confidence. And Houston destroyed Longwood, and all the fun and games were over against Texas A&M. I think getting battle tested with Texas A&M is going to help Houston a lot here. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We will start with the spread. From a spread perspective, we have Houston sitting here at -4 at minus 115. They opened up at minus 4 at minus 110. We've had a 5-cent move, just a 5-cent move at BetOnline towards Houston. From a total standpoint, we are sitting here with a 135 at minus 115. 135. The over is minus 105. The under is minus 115. This opened up at 134, so we've had the 1-point move towards the over. Steve G, I love seeing that. Steve G, Vegas Blues wild parlay cash. I love seeing that, Steve. Great work. So here we go. Let's pull up the action the cash flow, I should say, on the Action Network. 57% of the tickets and 91% of the cash is on Houston, and this line is not moving. 56% of the tickets and 71% of cash is on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Duke, Houston.
Well, I talked about how my favorite total tonight was that Gonzaga-Purdue over. This is probably my favorite side. I love how this sets up for Houston. I really like how it sets up for Houston. They got the scare. They got the slap in the face. They got the cold water splashed on their face with that Texas A&M game. They got the wake-up call. They almost let that one slip away. They didn't finish that game cleanly. They let a big lead evaporate, had to go to overtime. They were right at the edge of the cliff. All these dreams, all these aspirations of going to the Final Four, getting over the hump, winning a national championship finally with Kelvin Sampson. It was that close to going out the window. And yet, with foul trouble galore, tons of their best players in foul trouble on the bench in overtime, couldn't play because they had fouled out in overtime against A&M. And yet this team found the mental fortitude and the mental capacity to just block it out, play basketball, and take that game over in overtime and find a way to survive. I think that's such a huge win for them, and I think it's a good thing for Houston moving forward. They saw the abyss staring at it, and they ended up coming through it, even when it looked like things were starting to get a little gloomy for them. So I like that coming into this game. With all due respect to Duke, they played a perfect game against James Madison. Every shot was going down. They got the big lead early, and James Madison, kind of felt that, hey, it's not our day, and Duke just ran him out of the gym. I think this is going to be a more difficult opponent. The physicality that Houston provides, the ability to just crush teams on the glass with rebounding, with second and third chances is something that Duke's going to have to battle. Filipowski has got a little bit of, I still think of him more as a finesse big. He's going to have to prove it to me that tonight in this game, he's willing to go mano a mano in that paint for those balls, because we know Houston, they're like rabid dogs. When that ball hits the rim, they're just attacking the glass, looking for those rebounds. Duke's going to have to deal with that here tonight in this game. And plus, Duke's, for as well as their offense has been, that is the scariest part of this handicap here for me, is that Duke has shot the ball in the first two games in this tournament better than they did much of the season, and especially down the stretch. But now you're going up against an absolutely elite defense, a team that is not going to be happy with their defensive effort against Texas A&M. And I went, and there was a great stat that I saw with Sampson since he's been with Houston. When he's given up over 80 points in a game in his coaching career, the last 9 times, 8-1 straight up, 8-1 against the spread. The last 9 games that Houston's given up at least 80 points. So they correct the mistakes. They get back to playing good defense, and I think you're going to see that. And they had their scare against A&M. They play better. I think you're getting a discount here because Houston had to struggle and go to overtime with A&M. Meanwhile, Duke's coming off this big blowout against James Madison. I at least think because of those 2 results, that's affected this number a little bit, because I think this could have been Houston 5.5, 6, not Houston 4. I think you're getting a discount because of that. I really like Houston. It's my favorite side of the entire Sweet 16 round. For me, it's the Houston Cougars tonight to take care of business here against the Duke Blue Devils. -3.5, -125 at Proline Plus.
You got it. Houston -3.5. Oh, sorry. -3.5, -125.
Yep.
You got it. Jake Bryn says Texas A&M with 100% beat Duke. It's just one of those things where, of course, it's just, of course, yes. Who would possibly not agree with that breakdown? Yes, of course. This
is the classic inside-out handicap. We're betting against the team that played awesome, played a perfect game, has looked awesome in this tournament. We're betting on the team that looked vulnerable, looked like, hey, they could have lost that last game. And, that's exactly why and plus I still think Houston's the better of these two teams. I've thought that all season long, and there's nothing that changes my mind, even though Houston had to survive A&M.
Well, I agree completely with your analysis. I agree completely with everything that is being said in the chat. At this point, I can't bet it. It's just too suspect. And in these situations, I'd rather you guys trust your instincts and you guys get that cash and just be on the sidelines when it's just too suspect of a situation, of a line, everything. Now, I'll be keeping a close eye on it. If this, but I just have to stick to what's been working for me. So I will be
factor in Texas A&M was red fucking hot down the stretch, playing great ball for Buzz Williams, in the SEC tournament, down the stretch of the regular season. So it's not like they played a team that, was sucked all year and was really bad and playing poorly going into that game. A&M was playing some of their best basketball all year. So I think you got to give Houston a little bit of a, just pause on, saying, wow, you barely beat A&M. Well, A&M was playing pretty well going into that Houston game.
Oh, I agree with everything, but I just would I can't do it.
I'm worried about the Duke shooting because it's been good, and I'm worried about the refs too because I know they're going to give Duke a few extra calls. They always do, and that's something that.
Oh, Jake says, what would it have to do to go for you to get to the window? This line would have, if it opened at 3.5, it would have to move to 4.5 or 5. It would have to move. There's just too much money right now on Houston. It's just now, but from an X's and O's standpoint, I support it 100%, but I just don't fully cap X's and O's anymore. And you just have to do what works for you. And that's all. So like when you ask that question, Jake, like looking at the Purdue situation, you have 58% of tickets. Now it's gone down because that was over 60, because tickets are coming on Purdue now, but and 73% of cash on Gonzaga. People are drinking the Gonzaga juice. The big bets are on Gonzaga, and the line's moving towards Purdue. That's where I want to be. That's perfect. That's how I've been doing things this year, and I know that my recorded, tweeted out picks, I'm only up 3 units on the season, but it's been a better year than that. And I just got to stick to what's working for me. And that's, you have the 100% autonomy in what we do. However you succeed, go succeed. That's the only thing that's important. So let's roll on. Bobano on Houston -3.5, -125. The last spot on the board, 10:09 p.m. Eastern. We have the Midwest Region Sweet 16, the number 3 seed Creighton Blue Jays versus number 2 seed Tennessee Volunteers, 26-8 this season. Let's get this all set up for us. Creighton took out Akron. Not a bad Akron team, 77-60, and then needed double overtime to get past an Oregon team that was doing everything right down the stretch. Everything right. Tennessee took out St. Peter's, 83-49. That was such a great call. We were both, you led us there, but we were both on St. Peter's 2 weeks ago, plus 2.5 in a place where you'd think nobody would want to back them, and that got us right to the bank. And then Tennessee beat Texas 62-58. Both teams are clearly battle tested. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Creighton right now plus 3.5. They opened up plus 2.5. We have the 1 point move towards the Volunteers. And then from a total standpoint, we are sitting at 144 at -110, which is exactly where it opened. It did drop to 143.5 for a short period of time, but it's exactly where it opened. And then when we get to the cash flow for our final game on the board, it's a flippy situation. 48% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on the Tennessee Volunteers. We've seen a 1 point move despite it 50-50 type of thing. 27% of the tickets and 51% of the cash on the under. Our final game of the Sweet 16. Take it away, Bobano, Creighton, Tennessee.
Yeah, this is one of those games where all the chatter is about how Tennessee and Rick Barnes can't get over the hump. When's the last time Greg McDermott got to the Elite Eight or the Final Four? With Creighton. It's but everyone's talking about Tennessee and how they've come up short. It's not like Creighton's been a juggernaut of Final Fours over the last 20, 30 years. So it's a big game for both teams, both coaches, kind of like a prove it type of game. Both of these coaches and teams trying to get to that next level, if you will. Look, Tennessee's dreadful track record at ATS. It continued. I know they beat Texas 62-58, but I saw something like the numbers for Rick Barnes after the first round of the NCAA tournament. Tennessee and Rick Barnes in the second round and beyond, it's something like 2-8 or 2-9 against the spread. Like, it's terrible, the ATS numbers for Tennessee. And I was on Texas last weekend against Tennessee just because of that. I don't trust the team to win by margin. Every game is tight for Tennessee. Even their first tournament game, Tennessee, where they beat St. Peter's, but St. Peter's was, very offensively challenged. They played a good athletic team, Texas, with good offensive, when you have a Max Asmus on your team to lead you offensively, you're always going to be dangerous. A guy that led Oral Roberts years ago, and they struggled to win that game at all, let alone win by margin. Now you're playing a Creighton team that's multifaceted. You've got Tyshawn Alexander. You've got Baylor Shireman. You've got Ryan Kalkbrenner in the low post. And that's the thing. I think the Kalkbrenner matchup here is going to be a situation where Tennessee, another front court that I don't love it by any stretch of the imagination, the front court matchup for Tennessee here, dealing with the big guy Kalkbrenner, who's very good, by the way. He's got great footwork, too. Not only is he able to clean up on the glass and score around the rim, but he's got the great footwork, and he's a good passer, too, out of the low post. So I think it's a tricky matchup dealing with him, Tennessee. Now, Creighton, on the other side, they're going to have to deal with, either the guard play and especially Dalton Connect on the Tennessee side, who's had a great year. But Dalton Connect, down the stretch, he's had a couple of games where he hasn't exactly lit it up like he did earlier in the season. So it's going to be critical for Creighton to keep him in check. I think when you look at this game, I've got this game closer to pick 'em, honestly, than where this line is right now. I really do think Creighton's got a chance. I think this is one of those games it should be, to me, around maybe pick 'em, maybe Tennessee -1. But right now, Tennessee -3. I definitely have the feeling this is a down to the wire type of game and a one possession game either way. And we just saw Tennessee struggle to get out alive against Texas. Creighton's a lot better than Texas, in my opinion. And I know they survived Oregon 86-73, and it's kind of like what we just talked about in the last game with Houston. I kind of like the team that got the scare, and Creighton got the scare against Oregon. Had to survive, had to go to overtime, double overtime, in fact. And then, of course, I think Oregon kind of ran out of gas, and they ran out Oregon in the second overtime. I think Creighton's got a shot here in this game. Like I said, I don't know if they win necessarily, but I think this is a one-possession game, and I do believe here with Tennessee and this long-term ATS failure, especially when laying points second round and beyond in the NCAA tournament, I'm comfortable taking now upwards of 3.5 with Creighton in this spot. So Creighton plus 3.5 -108 at Pinnacle. Jimmy, we can't hear you.
The whole idea of Barnes not being able to handle these moments, and I feel like from a gambling standpoint, and this is probably going to keep me off, but I feel from a gambling standpoint, this is setting up Tennessee backers to get a better price and to get than they probably deserve. And I don't know if that rhetoric of him not being able to handle these spots is fair. I think everybody in the chat pretty much is on Creighton, and I get it. And this line's moved towards Tennessee. It has me interested in Tennessee. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to need to study it longer, but it does have me interested in Tennessee. Big Show picks in the house. Great to see you, Big Show. Everybody wants
to be in the Sweet 16 tonight, one on each game.
Whit Chubb, I don't know anything about that. You can if you hit me on DM, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. So just hit me on the end. Dana says Rick Barnes chokes again. I really feel like that storyline is in the minds of everybody. Yeah. And when there's a storyline in the minds of everybody, I want to bet against that storyline. And when DG comes in and says, go do it, it's a very profitable angle. I'll put some asterisks beside it. I'm going to look longer at it, but I'm interested in finishing my night Friday night with Tennessee Volunteers action. But I hear what you guys are saying. It's going to be a very tight contest. And in a very tight contest, you want the point. So yeah. I absolutely hear what you guys are saying. Let's review all action and get into NBA with Bobano. This is Bobano's second time here with us in NBA. And there was so much getting the records together after Pubapalooza stuff has just been so daunting that I didn't get to your first record, but you'll probably be doing more of NBA with us, and we'll have your record going as we move forward. But in college basketball, sitting here 122.
I don't want to displace LJ, by the way. I know this was LJ's spot on
Friday.
Fridays
There's no
with
displacing
NBA.
LJ. Something has come up at work, so he can't do Fridays anymore. So it's no one's being
Okay, good.
No one's being displaced, but that's very.
I'd do it with both of us if he was free, but okay, now it makes sense. He's not. Okay,
Dustin and Jamie H., we are getting into MLB in 51 minutes, but feel free to ask anybody in the chat about their thoughts on anything. This chat is absolutely incredible. It makes the show. So Bobano's on NC State money line at plus 260. He's on the over 153.5 in Gonzaga Purdue. That now I know you guys see the 155s out there. That cost a minus 125. That's available right now. I'm going to double up on Purdue first half and full game. Then Tone Miggins gave us Houston first half minus 2.5. Bobano's on Houston full game minus 3.5 minus 125. From an X's no standpoint, I agree with you guys completely, but the market's going to keep me off of that spot. Bobano is on Creighton plus 3.5 minus 108, and I'm extremely interested in the Volunteers. We now move on to the association. Let's go. Shout out to Troy. It's really not easy. A lot of you guys, have full work days, and then you come in here and you give out your picks, or you have full work days and you come on the show and give out your picks. Troy Torrance had a full work day, came on the show, and the show had been going on for 4 hours, and he delivered. And it just means so much to me. It means so much to me. That Pelicans breakdown was a thing of beauty. We all were very uncomfortable with the Celtics Hawks spot, and shout out to DeJounte putting up 44, and what a beast. I mean, who needs Ice Tray? DeJounte is just phenomenal. Slow down the pace. I mean, we've seen so many teams in the last 15 games or so that were terrible defensively slow their pace down and start winning basketball games.
You make two ball hog guards are better maybe without the other on the court. Wow, shocked. Can't believe that.
But one has got length and defense and can
one can defend. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's get to work here in NBA. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Golden State Warriors 38-34, 20-15 on the road at Charlotte Hornets, 18-54, 10-24 at home, Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Warriors 3-2 over their past 5 games, playing at the 13th fastest pace in the NBA, 97.60 possessions a game. You see it slowing down across the league, except for the Lakers. Lakers are flying right now, but no one else is. Charlotte 1-4 over their past 5. Playing at the 27th fastest pace, down to 93.10 possessions a game. When you want to go down real slow, we get to Cleveland. We'll talk about them later. 91 possessions a game over their last 5, slowing way, way down. And their efficiency has gone up. And that we've seen that with the Wizards. We're seeing that with a bunch of teams that are slowing down, but the efficiency is going up. Let's set this one up here and hear what Bobano has to say. Warriors coming off their second straight win, 101-93 at the Magic on Wednesday night. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights. This is game 4 of a 5-game trip that finishes in San Antonio on Sunday. Charlotte snapped their 5-game losing streak with a surprise 118-111 win at home over the Cavaliers on Wednesday. I was way off on that. These two teams playing such a slow pace. Charlotte not hitting any 28% from 3 over the last 5 games. And, 75 points were scored in that game. So you guys, just so you can sort of see the whole picture. If you remember that game, they just met and gone for 207 points the game before. So I still liked my cap when it started soaring. I waited till about 2 minutes left in the first quarter to live bet the under, and I got 223.5. Troy waited about a minute into the second quarter and got 235.5, maybe 2 or 3 minutes second quarter. His live bet cashed. 33 points were scored in the fourth quarter. Mine didn't. I don't know when I can't tell you when the right time to live bet is, but I went in with 2 minutes left in the first. He went in with 2 minutes or 3 minutes into the second. He cashed and I didn't. So let's talk about the line history here for this spot. We have the Warriors right now sitting. We're going to go back to Pinnacle line moves. We have the Warriors sitting right now minus 13 at minus 104. They opened up at minus 12, got to 12.5. The move to 13 at Pinnacle happened 12 minutes ago. Then from a total side of things here, shout out to our guy AOD in the house. Sorry, let me get this going. I'll have this all set up, so we'll breeze through this as we move forward, but I was set up on college basketball. From a total side of things, we're sitting at 220. This opened up at 217.5. So we've gone up 2.5 points. And then when we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 55% of the tickets and 71% of the cash on the Golden State Warriors. The line's moving in their direction. And it's a 50-50 proposition on the total. I mean, you got 44% of tickets and 50% of cash on the under. And yet this total has gone up 2.5 points. Bobano, game 1 of the NBA card, Warriors Hornets. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm not stepping in front of Golden State. I know that much. They've got everything to play for. You're just trying to get into the play-in at this point in the NBA. And you see with how they've started this road trip. The loss to Minnesota, the Timberwolves to start, bounce back with 2 wins in Florida, sweeping those 2 games against Miami and Orlando, winning outright as underdogs actually against Orlando on a back-to-back as well. After winning in Miami the night before. I lean Golden State here. I just don't know what to make of Charlotte. Maybe I'm hesitant because I actually took Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was in a good spot against Charlotte. And Charlotte, sure enough, beats them straight up outright as big underdogs in that game. So it was a very frustrating night and bad game from Cleveland the other night against them in that game. Looks like, as far as we're concerned, he's been the guy every game lately for Golden State. We got to worry about Jonathan Kuminga, questionable with a knee injury. He missed Wednesday's game against Orlando due to that injury. We'll see if he suits up here tonight for Golden State. But again, they obviously beat Orlando without him, but obviously they could use him here, especially because this front court's not really all that great for Charlotte, although they do have, obviously, Nick Richards in there. Mark Williams, of course, is still out, probably their best player in the front court. So having Kuminga in there would really help Golden State. Right now, I don't want to go against them because they need victories. They can't be sloughing off right now. They need every win they can get. They're certainly the much better of these 2 teams. But I don't know what to make of Charlotte. Was that Cleveland being really awful the other night, or is Charlotte going to be able to, cover numbers like this, getting 12.5 against better teams? They certainly showed it the other night against Cleveland, but Golden State's in better form right now than Cleveland. So I lean Warriors, but I ultimately passed.
What up, Marcus? Marcus McCarthy in the house. Yeah, I don't find anything appealing. And these, I've got to work on my skill set around these big spreads. I get discombobulated. I get nervous about the big spreads. We've seen a lot of covers, not lately. I guess when the pace slows down near the end of the year, I need more work on them. But yeah, this isn't an appealing spot here, but you have to think Steph back home, could light it up here. And I wonder if the family's going to be there watching, if Seth is going to be there too. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. Los Angeles. I'm very excited about the spot after this. Clippers Magic. Los Angeles Lakers 41-32, 14-20 on the road. The Indiana Pacers 41-33, 21-15 at home. We're at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. We've been talking about the Lakers speeding things up. It's always going to be a tricky cat with the Lakers. One thing that Troy did in the Lakers' victory over Memphis was he said, because this total was climbing so quickly early in the day, that AD was not going to be there to patrol the paint. So he connected those two, said, I'm moving on the over. AD's not going to be in the lineup. And he connected those dots, and it worked out perfectly. You're going to have to deal with James and Davis, day-to-day game time decisions always. They're playing at the fastest pace in the league, 103.49 possessions a game. That's over the last 5, undefeated in those 5. They've won 5 straight. Indiana Pacers 3-2, playing at the 3rd fastest pace in the league, 101.70. They've been in that situation, playing that fast pace for all season. So this is the Lakers' 3rd game in 4 nights, but it's not as tough if you think about AD and LeBron both taking nights off over the last 2 games. This is game 3 of a tough 6-game road trip, a very important 6-game road trip. The taint play of the day is in. I will copy and paste it. We'll talk about it in MLB. MLB starting in 42 minutes. The Pacers coming off their 2nd loss in 3 games, 125-99. The Bulls on Wednesday. Look, we were all on the Bulls. No, I should say we were on the Bulls. We all understood that the Pacers were the better. We've lost Bobano. I'm sure he'll be back here in a second. But we all understood that the Pacers were the better basketball team. But the Bulls had just laid an egg. The Pacers were on the second half of back-to-back. It was a pretty easy was a pretty easy spot. It was also the final game of the 5-game road trip for the Pacers. We talked about them probably wanting to go home. We broke it down psychologically. That was the situation. And a lot of us cashed on the Chicago Bulls. I know Wine Time and I did. And that line went against us, 2.5 to 3, but we trusted the X's and O's in that spot. Let's talk about the line history here for this one. We have the Pacers sitting here at -4, at -110. It's juiced towards them. They open up at -3. It feels like this is going to be a 4.5. Some of the offshores have moved it to 4.5, but none of the ones. Oh, Bet Online has moved it to 4.5. Okay, so that's the first. None of the ones that we really track and care about. This total at 243.5, -107 to the over. This opened up at 242, so it's climbed up 1.5. And when we get to the cash flow here, we get to and I big shout out to our guy J Dub upgrading to PSR Gold. Oh, of course, PSR Gold. We have the horse race today. It's not going to be too long of a show either. So we have the horse race. So J Dub up $50 up for grabs here. J Dub, I love it. Thank you for being a part of this. So then from a cash flow standpoint, we have no cash information. What we know is that 70% of the tickets are on the Lakers. The line is moving towards the Pacers. 77% of the tickets are on the over, and the line is moving towards the over. Take it away, Bobano. Lakers, Pacers at Cambridge.
So I definitely am on the over in this game. For sure. There's no question about that. I was on the over the week last weekend. They played in LA, flew over the total. What was it? 150 to 145 for the Lakers. 295 points in that game. Easily flew over the total. Lakers have gone over in 3 straight. I cashed a ticket with the Lakers over against Memphis a couple nights ago without Anthony Davis. And I know Ski Profit, Dutch, and Wham, and all of us, when we talk NBA, have said this. When Anthony Davis is out, the defense is a lot worse. The pace is quicker, and it's an over team even more, in my opinion, with Anthony Davis out for the Lakers. And there's obviously a very, very good, decent chance at least he misses again tonight with this knee injury that he continues to battle through. Jackson Hayes took his spot the other night. LeBron should play. LeBron, we always talk about, it's on the injury report, but I think he'll end up playing tonight. I also like Indiana in this spot. Revenge situation. Lakers beat them in LA just 5 days ago. You've got Indiana off a 125-99 blowout loss at Chicago. I kind of want Indiana in this spot, but the one concern I have here is this is the Malinsky special that involves Indiana. And what the Malinsky special is the late, great Dave Malinsky. 4-game road trip or longer, team coming home off that 4-game or longer road trip, you bet against that team. And that spot is in play here. It says bet against Indiana coming off a 5-game road trip here, first game home. So that's the one hesitancy I have with the Pacers. But I like the revenge angle. I like the fact the Lakers are a little bit banged up. And I like the fact the Pacers are off a blowout loss. I think you're going to get probably a better performance here from Indiana, but the road trip angle does concern me. That's a good long-term profitable angle in the NBA and the NHL for that matter. The home team after a 4-game or longer road trip betting against them. So that's where I'm hesitating on Indiana. I lean Indiana. Don't know if I'll get there, but I do like this over. And I'll like it even more if Anthony Davis does not play. So over 242.5, -112 at Bet Rivers.
Over 242.5 -112 at Bet Rivers. A couple things that and I've always been the same way. You had the guy come on, the Ice Guys. I forget, you'll remember this. I can't remember his name offhand. That was in the NHL and talked about when you want to fade a team, and it's that first game back from a road trip, especially if it's 5 games or more. And then so we poked one hole in it that I think I'm going to keep doing, and it's when you finish the road trip and you have 2 days off.
Jay Rosehill, Bobby Ryan, and Carter Hutton have all been on the Ice Guys show, and they've all said that. Yeah, the road trip angle is a real thing.
It's so real. It's so legit. But we've faded it when I did it with CMAC when they came back the next day, and the day after that they didn't play.
Yeah.
They had the day off. That is helpful. And then the other thing is Indiana and Chicago is that a 20-minute flight?
Yeah, it is. It's a very short flight. Very short travel, no doubt. Yeah.
And they got destroyed.
Yeah.
So I think
it's not like they're coming back from the West Coast to Indiana. West Coast, the little stopover in Chicago to play the Bulls a couple nights ago, right? On Wednesday. And now you're coming back home from Chicago. So you're right. I think that alleviates the stress of that home return off that road trip, at least a little bit.
I like it.
I'm with you. I want to take Indiana here. I really, really do. I really do. It's a revenge situation. They're off a blowout loss. I know the Lakers are not assured of anything. They should make the play-in. You know, they're 3.5 games clear of Houston, which is the team that can bump them out of a play-in spot. But I might end up going adding Indiana. We'll see. Come back to me at the end of the show. I'll think it over a little bit. But I'm strongly leaning to Indiana.
You know, and Dan Kelly said they might have gone back to Indiana and then to Chicago. That's a great point, Dan Kelly. Wine time on the Pacers -4, and I'm going to be on the Indiana Pacers tonight. And it's you have to have the conviction to go against with what we're talking about, the 5-game trip. You have to have conviction. I think I have it here. Dan Kelly and Wine time have pushed it for. I like it.
That was their spot where they looked. That was the spot too. Maybe not tonight so much because they're blown out. The adrenaline's flowing. Comes because you played so poorly against Chicago and you want to bounce back, especially against a team that beat you over the weekend in LA, the Lakers. But maybe that was the spot in Chicago where the Pacers hit a wall physically off the road trip, coming back from the West Coast, and they got beaten up, blown out. The good thing is, you know, Indiana could get the starters off the court early. That game was over, and you get ready now for the Lakers in a revenge spot. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm talking myself into the Pacers. I am.
Well, you have some time to think it over as we break down the rest of the games. I'm going to be with Wine Time on the Pacers. Kelsey saying the Blue Jays are undefeated. Yes, it was a nice start to the season. We're pretty pumped up. Anything to take our mind off the Raptors. We move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, the Los Angeles Clippers, 45-27, 23-14 on the road at the Orlando Magic, 42-30, 25-11 at home. We're at the Kia Center in Orlando, Florida. And I can tell you from working with Bobano that right now he's betting the Pacers. He'll tell me when he jumps back on, but that's my prediction there. Clippers 3-2 over the past 5, playing the 22nd fastest pace, 94.70 possessions game. Orlando 3-2 also over the past 5, playing at the 19th fastest pace, 95.9 possessions a game. Both teams are playing slower as we're heading towards the playoffs. Let's pull up the line history here for this one. This total opened up at 210, is now up to 212.5. We have a 2.5 point move towards the over. From a spread perspective here, this is sitting at let's go to the Orlando side. They opened up at +1.5, -105. This has been juiced a few times. Got up to -113, then come back. And now it got to -113 again about 2 hours ago, about an hour and a half ago. Now it's at -109. So we've had a 4-cent move at this number, which means we should probably do the due diligence and go over the line history of the money line. So why don't we just quickly do that here? So from a money line perspective, we have, go back to Pinnacle. We have the Clippers sitting at -110 right now. They opened up at -114. So, they got up to -115. So it's really not moved very much. I mean, I guess that's the final story with that. Let's get into the cash flow here for this one. We have 73% of the tickets on the Orlando Magic, 73% of the tickets, 64% of the tickets on the over. We have no cash flow information. Clippers coming off snapping their 2-game losing streak with that 108-107 win at the Sixers on Wednesday. This is game 2 of a 4-game trip. Magic coming off their second straight loss, 101-93 at home versus the Warriors on Wednesday. Now this is game 6 of an 8-game homestand. And I talk about game 6 of an 8-game homestand. I talked about it yesterday with the Arizona Coyotes. I told you guys that I could not bet the Nashville Predators because they had Colorado on deck on Saturday. And this was game 6 of it. It was a perfect situation for Arizona. This is a very nice situation for the Magic, but it is the first half of a back-to-back. That's important. They do face the Grizzlies at home tomorrow. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Clippers, Magic.
The one thing I'm not doing is laying points with the Clippers on the road. That's the one thing I will not do. Their defense is just not good enough to do that, in my opinion, right now. Although they did play better against the Sixers, and that was the game where Nick Nurse is livid with the refs, and Kelly Oubre's telling them, you're a bitch, your mom's a bitch. That clip was just hilarious at the end of that game. Sixers just obviously were not happy with the whistle they got in that game. But Clippers, it was a big win for them, though. They needed it. They needed a response. Ty Lue kind of called them out, too, after the loss to Indiana over the weekend at home, saying we're soft. We need to find it, figure it out. And, hey, they did respond to the coach's tirade because they did find a way to win against the Sixers in that game. But more importantly, they did not cover. They were laying, 6.5 points in that game on the road. They barely escaped with the outright win. Now they're coming off that win. Can they string good performances together? Because, if you look back at the Clippers here, it's not been a lot of games outside of 2 back-to-back wins against a lowly Portland Trailblazers team. There hasn't been a lot of evidence of the Clippers playing 2 good games in a row. It's just hasn't happened. So for me, it's difficult to lay the number here with the Clippers. They're 0-4 ATS their last 4 games. They've been a money burner. But what it is easy for me to do is bet their games over the total. To me, I trust their offense right now more than their defense. The defense is still a big-time liability, a big-time concern for me at this point in time. Now, I know the Magic have been a good defensive team much of the year, and certainly from an under standpoint, they've been a strong under team, 40-32 on the season. In the short term, they're 6-4. 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. Each of their last 2 games has gone under the total as well. I think in this matchup here, we could see a few more points than this total indicates. It's worth noting in LA, they played back in October, 118-102, 220 total points. To me, that's where this total is. That's what I like here in this game. I think the total is a little bit short. I lean Orlando. I definitely lean Orlando, but I'm going to move, at least just for now, only on the over here, 211.5 minus 110. Bet Rivers.
Over 211.5 at minus 110. Hunter Engelhardt sharing his MLB action. I'm going to copy and paste all that. And same with Moose Money. We're going to copy and paste all that. I love what Moose Money's saying about Musgrove because we're seeing it. We saw it all spring. This is the most consistent guy last year, and he's not right now. I love this stuff. So thank you guys, both of you, for sharing your action. It means a ton to us. I want the Magic here. And I don't have the cash flow information, and there's 73% of tickets, so I may wait. One of the problems with and look at this, wasn't reported, but as a pitching coach, it looked like, because Moose Money's a pitching coach, it looked like Musgrove battled an arm injury early in spring training. It's just so evident from watching him right now. So I love that, Moose. Thank you so much. Truly,
great info. San Francisco did. Never mind San Francisco money line or run line. Just take team total. I agree. Just don't worry about who's pitching for the Giants today. Good call.
Okay, copied and pasted. We got a lot of MLB to get through. I want the Magic. One of the things I was going to say is that sometimes when there's no cash flow information and you're waiting for the cash flow information, it doesn't come.
Yep.
So it's not like. But I'm going to sit with it a little longer. Let's move on. Next spot on the board. So we have 28 minutes before we hit MLB. MLB will be at the top of the hour. 7 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons 12-6, 15-30 on the road at the Washington Wizards, 14-59, 6-29 at home. We're at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Pistons coming off their 8th straight loss, 106-91 at Minnesota on Wednesday. Obviously 0-5 over their past 5, playing at the 12th fastest pace, 98.2 possessions a game. Washington 3-2, playing at the 9th fastest pace, 98.64 possessions a game. On Wednesday, I waited until almost tip-off, 20 minutes before tip-off to find out if Cade Cunningham was in. And they announced him in, and I still couldn't move on it. I still looked at the starting lineup. Now, they covered the 15.5 by a half point, and it probably would have been a worthwhile sweat. But, man, these Pistons are tough. They're a train wreck. Washington 3-2 over their past 5, playing at 9th fastest pace, 98.64 possessions a game. And this team does have history with Kuzma saying, don't want to be the team that loses to the Pistons. And then all of a sudden, the Wizards were as bad. So Pistons 12-61, Wizards 14-59. So there is. I don't know if there's bad blood. I don't know if that upset the Pistons. I can't speak on that. But Wizards had their 3-game winning streak snapped in 122-119 overtime loss at home to Brooklyn on Wednesday. Those were my 2 wins on Wednesday, were the Wizards and the Bulls. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. I'm going to have to go back to spread. I'm on money line right now, so just let me quickly get back to the spread. And let's go. We have Detroit right now plus 3.5 at minus 104. This opened up at 4, so we have a half-point move towards the Pistons. They're just really difficult to bet. Cunningham and Ivy were both game time decisions on Wednesday. Cunningham was in, Ivy wasn't. So then, then you had Sasser at the 2, and I couldn't X's and O's trust the situation. Same deal. We're gonna have Cunningham as a game time decision for the rest of the year. It makes things very difficult. We know what's up for the Wizards, and that's that Bagley's back, and Richaun Holmes is out. Tyus Jones is also out. So their starting 5 is Poole, Kispert, Avdija, Kuzma, and Bagley. So we know that there's been a half-point move towards the Pistons. Then from a total side of thing, and Jalen Duren rebounds here for LJ from H-Town. And he's also given us the trilogy play of the day, and we'll talk about that when we get to that Rocket spot. But here, from a total standpoint, we're sitting at 228 minus 101, so it's juiced to the under. So it's gone up a half point. Oh, it just moved 2 cents. So it's over 228 now, minus 103. And then cash flow here. Again, I guess we do have, 5 of the 6 more games with cash flow information, but we have a stretch where we don't here. Next game, we do have cash flow information, and a stretch where we don't. 55% of the tickets are on the Pistons. 54% of the tickets are on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Bum fight, Pistons Wizards.
Bum fight, but I'm leaning Pistons. Bum fight, but I'm leaning Pistons. It looks like Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham were both at morning shoot-around earlier today for Detroit. So they're both questionable, and they're game-time decisions still. But I would say 80% of the time, if they're participating in the morning shoot-around day of the game, they're going to play. That's just my guess, but that's what it's looking like. It's a great point that who said it in the chat? Kong's Clips. Yeah, Detroit, you're right. They're locked into the lottery spot, so it's not like there's need for tanking or any of that. I try to put the tanking stuff out of my mind. When I'm handicapping these games, you've still got to look at them, as individual entities, individual matchups. It's just, 2 teams that are not very good, and I just rather take points than lay points, quite honestly, even regardless of the injury situation or the position in the standings that the Detroit Pistons are in right now. If you look at the Pistons, obviously for them, it's been a rough go. They've lost 8 straight games. They've only covered 3 during that time. But you look at the schedule they've played too. Look at this 8-game losing streak. Miami twice, Boston twice, Indiana, New Orleans, New York, Minnesota. That's a pretty demanding schedule and difficult schedule of opponents. Pretty strong strength of schedule right there for the Detroit Pistons. Meanwhile, you look at Washington. Yeah, they're 3-1 in their last 4, but Sacramento, well, that's a good win, actually. I got to say that. Toronto, not a good win. Toronto's awful. Chicago, that actually was not a bad win. And Brooklyn, they lost by 3. So they have played better. But I think when you look at what Detroit's gone through, and yes, they've been crushed. Yes, they've been steamrolled. The Boston lost by 25, Indiana by 19. Boston, again, they lose by 27. They lose by 13 to New Orleans, by 25 to New York, by 15 against Minnesota. Like, they're non-competitive in these games, but at the same point in time, the Pistons have faced a very, very, very difficult schedule, and this is a huge, mammoth step down in class for them here tonight. So this is another one where I'm going to think about it, and I'll make a final decision before I leave, but I'm leaning Detroit right now.
Yeah, if Kuzma didn't yap about how bad the Pistons were, I'd be on probably on the Wizards even without the cash formation. I'm not going to be. If Cunningham and Ivy were in the shoot around, something tells me that they want to beat Washington. So I'm going to, at this point, I'm not going to be involved. We roll on to the next spot on the board, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Chicago Bulls 35-38, 16-19 on the road at the Brooklyn Nets, 28-45, 16-19 at home. We're at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Both teams 2-3 over the past 5. Brooklyn playing at a very slow pace and playing much better. 92.77 possessions a game over the last 5. That's 3rd slowest in the league. And Chicago is being sort of even keel, 15th pace for most of the season, 97 possessions a game. The Bulls lost to the Wizards in ugly fashion. I mean, they only lost by 2, but still, you lost at home to the Wizards. And they bounced back. They beat the Pacers. Pacers were in a terrible spot. They beat them badly. That was on Wednesday. For Brooklyn, they beat Toronto, and then they needed overtime to beat Washington. This is a bad basketball team. Now, that was the final of a 4-game road trip that was all, Milwaukee, New York, Toronto, Washington, sort of in the same cluster of cities. So it's not like a ton of travel. And now they're back in Brooklyn. From a line history standpoint, we have the total sitting at 215. It's dropped a half point from the opener at 215.5 at Pinnacle. And then from a side here, there's been a half-point move towards the Nets from +4 to +3.5. That's been the only move. So then cash flow-wise, we do have the information. Oh, no, we don't know on this one. Sorry, it's another one we don't. 56% of the tickets are on Brooklyn. Half-point move towards them. 62% of the tickets are on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Bulls, Nets.
I think it's a good spot for Brooklyn, but they're just not very good. That's the problem. But I do think it's a little bit of a spot situational advantage for them. Chicago, though, is still obviously the better of these two teams, and they're coming off a nice win at Indiana, 125-99. Bulls, though, are another team that have not always been easy for them to put two good performances in a row together. I don't know if I want to trust Brooklyn, though. They beat Toronto and Washington, and this is a step up in class for them, and it's Malinsky special off a 4-game road trip, first game home. Not to mention, if you go back to March 9th, the last 10 games for Brooklyn, 5 road games, travel in between each game. You're back home for 1 game against New Orleans, and then you're back on the road for 4 more games, travel in between each game, and now you're back home. So they have had to basically travel and fly to their next destination, their next game, every game, 10 straight since March the 9th. That's a lot of travel. That's tough to go around that if you're Brooklyn here. So Chicago, though, coming off a blowout win, now laying points on the road. I'm not enamored enough to take Chicago in this spot at this number, so it's a pass.
Yeah. Also this little move back to Brooklyn when the only team I would want here would be Chicago is uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Whenever there's a move that I can't possibly understand, it doesn't make me want to.
20 straight days for the Brooklyn Nets where they've had to get on a plane and fly to the next game. That's ridiculous, man.
That's rough. And the Bulls, my ROI with the Bulls it's my best. The Bulls and the Lakers would be my best teams this year. But I don't want that to get in my head that, just stay locked in. Let's move on. Although I'm very curious to see how this kind of plays out market-wise here. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. By the way, Caruso and Ayo are game time decisions in that Chicago-Brooklyn spot.
If Ayo's out, it's probably lean under. If he's in, and then if Caruso's out, you lean over. If Ayo's out, you lean under. Ayo means more offensively. Caruso means more defensively.
Oh, it's a bang on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Philadelphia 76ers 39-34, 18-18 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 44-29, 23-14 at home. We're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Both teams 1-4 over their past 5. As I said earlier in the program, Cleveland playing the slowest pace in the league, 91.70 possessions a game over the last 5. Philadelphia also playing quite slow, 94.7 possessions a game, 3 possessions more, and that's 22nd in the league. We have Covington, Embiid, and Melton out. So there's no confusion as to what's going on with the Sixers. Maxey, Lowry playing the 2. Lowry playing the 2 is ridiculous. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Oubre playing the 3, Harris the 4, Bamba the 5. For Cleveland, Mitchell game time decision, Garland game time decision. So adds a layer of trickiness. Let's go over the line history here and the situation. The Cavaliers were embarrassed last out. They had the home and home with Charlotte. They won the first one very easily and then got beaten and looked horrible in the fourth quarter, losing 118-111 on Wednesday. The Sixers had a tough luck situation against the Clippers. I didn't feel bad for them because I live bet the Clippers at +5.5. So I didn't have compassion, but they got some bad calls and bad breaks. Here, the Cavaliers open up as 8-point favorites. It goes to 8.5. Now it's right back at 8. So we've had no move, a 1-cent move over at Pinnacle. And then from a total situation here, this opened up at 212.5. Now at 211.5, and it's juiced to the under pretty heavily, which means the 211 is coming. So it's a 1-point move towards the under. And then cash flow for this one, we have it all. 56% of tickets and 86% of the cash is on the Cleveland Cavaliers, which tells me Spiders in. And the line tells me Spiders in. Or it's people I should take that back. It's people hammering the bounce back from embarrassment. I take that back. That's there's a few possibilities for the big bets coming in on them. 30% of the tickets, but 72% of cash on the over, and we see it dipping. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Sixers, Cavs.
So it looks like Mitchell's in, indeed, for the and it looks like Garland's in as well. Darius Garland likely to play. He's listed as probable. He's had a right ankle issue. Donovan Mitchell was at shoot around this morning. He did participate. He's got the nasal injury, but it looks like he's upgraded at least a little bit.
And we've never seen him play with a mask.
No, that's true.
So
no, and Levert's still questionable with a wrist for Cleveland.
But there's been talk, and maybe Dan would know more about this, but there's been talk that he doesn't like it. It's not comfortable, him in a mask at this point. But sorry, keep rolling, Bobano.
I don't think it would be comfortable. You're right about this Kyle Lowry playing shooting guard. It's ridiculous. You got to wonder if it was anyone but Nick Nurse, who he has a very long and mostly good relationship with going back to the Raptors days, would he put up with this crap? If it was anyone but Nick Nurse coaching him. But obviously he's going to, obviously he's okay with it, at least externally he is. I don't know about internally, but it's just weird to see that. Makes zero sense. I know Tyrese Maxey's, at the point guard spot now, but I don't know. To me, it's just a little weird, awkward. I wouldn't personally do it. So Cleveland's played Philly 3 times. Philly's won 2 games, and the only Cleveland win was by 3 in overtime. And Cleveland's been a point spread disaster. Let me repeat that. A point spread disaster since the All-Star break. They've been terrible. And the couple times I've tried to get in and bet this team, I've had my head caved in, like the other night against Charlotte when they lost 118-111. They just haven't been good against the number lately. Their defensive numbers have kind of dropped off. Now it looks like they're going to have some artillery back tonight, and they're off a bad loss to a bad Charlotte team. But I've got cold feet laying this many points with them right now. I'd actually lean to Philadelphia here. It's been a good matchup for them against the Cavaliers. Cleveland's back home for this one game, and then they go out on the road out west to Denver, Utah, and Phoenix after this. So it kind of feels like this is definitely one of those circle the wagon spots for the Cavs, no doubt. But I've lost some confidence in them. They haven't been good against the number. They haven't been good laying bigger points. Philadelphia's played them very tough all 3 games this year. So I'm kind of conflicted on this game, but right now I lean Philadelphia. No bet as of right now, but I do lean to the Sixers.
And I don't want to fade a team after being embarrassed, and I don't want to bet on a team with their star player returning. So it's a no action for me at this point. Kong's Clip says, what do you think about Cleveland first quarter, first half? I do not want you bring Spider back in, and I don't want that. I don't want that. You want to see how he fits in, how he handles the mask. Like, there's just questions that need to be answered by watching the game, not bets that need to be placed, in my opinion.
And the 2 wins, one of them in Cleveland in February, both of them after Joel Embiid got injured. So keep that in mind. With no Embiid, Philly beat him twice.
I get the idea, Kong. Generally I'd be all over it, after getting embarrassed. But we roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Portland Trailblazers 19-54, 8-27 on the road at the Miami Heat, 39-33, 18-17 at home. Kaseya Center. Portland, of course, in the throes of this 8-game losing streak, and they're playing the 10th fastest pace over the last 5, 98.3 possessions game. Miami, just a Jekyll and Hyde squad these days, with injuries and Jimmy Buckets, no hero, and 2 and 3 playing 29th fastest pace, second slowest in the league over the last 5 games, 92.30 possessions a game. And a Butler game time decision, of course, Hero and Robinson out. You have Kevin Love and Jaime Jaquez, a game time decision. And then you look at the Blazers. I mean, Scoot's the only guy you know is going to be out there at this point. So Simons and Sharp are out. Brogdon's out. Jeremy Grant's a game time decision. Thibel's game time decision. Aiden's down there. This is just ridiculous that this is what we have to deal with. When you legalize sports gambling, there has to be some accountability for who's going to be in and who's going to be out of the lineup. So the Heat have lost 2 of their last 3. They've lost 3 of their last 5. The loss to the Pelicans was a complete no-show at home in front of their own fans. And then they come back and they destroy the Cavaliers, and then another no-show at home. It's the Blazers coming off the loss to Atlanta. At home, they would play well against the best competition. On the road, you can't count on them for anything. And I mean anything. So this is the final game of this homestand. They fly into Washington for the Heat, and then they come right back. It's just a one-game trip to Washington. So it's extremely tricky, volatile situation. From a spread analysis side point, it opened up at plus 14 or minus 105, not till 7:58 this morning at Pinnacle. There's been a 1 cent move towards the Blazers. From a total scenario here, this opened up at 210. As a pick-em, there's been a 9 cent move to the under. And then when we get to the cash flow here, I imagine they're going to have very little information for us. Oh, no, they have information. 73% of the tickets and 77% of cash is on Portland. 65% of the tickets are on the over. This has been a really horrible season for the Blazers, 1954. How are this personnel group going to handle going down to Miami? Are they just going to want to be in the clubs and enjoy the sunshine, or are they going to take this seriously? Take it away, Bobano, Blazers Heat.
That's the big question. What I've been doing lately, though, is I've been on a bunch of these Portland games over the total lately, and that's what I'm on here. I'm going to make the over an official play here, and the market seems to agree because the total's gone up a little bit here. I think at this point of the season, it's kind of like they've kind of let go of the rope defensively a little bit, but at the same point in time, they are playing solid offensively, the Trailblazers, but they lose 120 to 106. And the great thing too about Portland is because they started the season, with some offensive issues. I think they were a little bit better defensively than they are now. They were playing to some unders, but markets haven't caught up yet to Portland. Portland, their last 8 games, we've seen 6-1 to the over in their last 7 coming into this matchup here against the Miami Heat. You look at the Miami situation, obviously, we're going to have to wait and see who's in. Is Butler going to play? Jaquez going to play? Caleb Martin? All of them game time decisions, and they're already without Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. So look, if Butler doesn't play, it's going to mean a lot of the offense is going to fall on Bam inside, Patty Mills and Terry Rozier in the makeshift backcourt for Miami, which is your concern here if you're on the over. But, Portland's been running over the total. I've been kind of riding these Blazers overs at these low numbers lately. Do have concerns about who exactly is going to be in the lineup here for these teams, but I'm going to go ahead with it anyway. Over 208.5, minus 120 at Betway.
Over 208.5 for Bobano, minus 120 over at Betway. We roll on. Next, and LJ saying Portland 12-4 team total over the last 16. We move on to a beauty. Finally a beauty. The Phoenix Suns playing good ball, 43-30, 20-16 on the road at Oklahoma City Thunder. What a great young team this is. 15-22, 28-8 at home at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And at this point, Nurkic is a game time decision, and obviously, we want to see him. And then Shea's doubtful now with the quad injury, so Shea's not going to be. Very unlikely going to be in the lineup. So take Shea out. Who knows about Nurkic? There's the El Dorado custodian in the house. Let's get into the line history here and the setup. Suns looked really good at Denver last night. The line was not moving. There was so much money on Denver, and the Suns handled their business. Now, I didn't take the Suns, but I stayed off the spot. The Suns bounced back from an embarrassing loss at the Spurs. And, you could say that the Cavaliers are going to do the same thing, but and then the Thunder were in a terrible situation on the back-to-back. Again, this is their 3rd game in 4 nights. A terrible situation at home against Houston, and I know that their record is very good on the second half back-to-back, very good without rest. This is a young ball club, and Chet Holmgren's the man. This total opened up at 225.5, now up to 228. So the 2.5 point move to the over. From a spread perspective, this opened up minus 2.5 for Phoenix, now minus 1.5. So Pinnacle didn't open up this line till 7:18 in the morning when they could get confirmation that Shea was very, very unlikely to play. 59% of the tickets and 92% of the cash is on the Phoenix Suns. You could imagine, I should say, that a lot of that money came in, when there was a plus line for the Suns, and they didn't know about Shea, but those are with limits. So, how much big bets could come in? 67% of tickets are on the over. Take it away, Bobano. Suns, Thunder.
Yeah, great game. No doubt about it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. Me, I'm impartial to Oklahoma City. I love this team. The connection with Shea, of course, from Hamilton, Ontario, right here in the Hammer. Love what I'm seeing from this guy. What a season he's had, putting Hamilton on the map. But They've been a little bit more up and down. Certainly ATS, they've been more up and down since the All-Star break. But straight up, they've been 5-2 in their last 7 games. They got blown out at Milwaukee. Great response, though, beating New Orleans on the road after that. They lost to Houston 132-106, or 132-126, I should say, in their last game. And remember, though, late absence in that game was SGA. He didn't play in that one. And obviously, when you don't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that makes quite the big difference. Phoenix is starting to play better. There's no doubt. 4-1 straight up, 4-1 against the spread. Their last 5 games is this veteran crew and this big 3 here, Booker, Beal, Durant. Are they starting to really rev things up for the postseason? That remains to be seen. We'll see if Nurkic plays. He didn't play against Denver due to an ankle issue. He's questionable for the Suns tonight. Nurkic, starting center. So we'll see if he's able to suit up in this one. I kind of lean OKC, honestly, as a slight home dog. I like the idea of getting them as a home underdog at points, 28-8 straight up at home this year. Phoenix has still been a little spotty at times on the road. I do applaud the way they're playing. They're coming off that huge win, though, against the defending NBA champs, 104-97. I think them off a satisfying road win like that, now laying points on the road, an OKC team that's, coming off that loss to Houston. I think it does set up decently for Oklahoma City. I'm kind of tempted here. Let's not be tempted. Let's go for it. Let's take it. I like OKC. They're not a home dog very often. +2 -112 at Bet Rivers. Oklahoma City.
+2 -112. I'm very likely to do the same thing, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and wait and wait and wait, and I think I'm going to do the same thing. I think I can squeeze out maybe another point or a point and a half. So I'm now, if Nurkic is announced out, it would be a bad play. Or it may not move. I mean, we'll see. But I like where you're at there. I like where you're at there. Okay, next up, 8 p.m. East. So we have 4 games, 4 minutes. We got to be tight here. 8 p.m. Eastern. New York Knicks 44-28, 20-15 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 17-56, 9-27 at home. Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Shout out to Big O, now a member of We Be Pubbin', rolling with us. Respect, my man. New York 4-1 over the past 5, 26th fastest pace, 94.1 possessions a game. Spurs 2-3 over the past 5, playing the second fastest pace in the league, which they've been doing all post All-Star break, 102.60 possessions a game. The Knicks have won 3 straight, but weak competition. Brooklyn, Detroit, Toronto, but they're playing good basketball. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to, the Spurs have won 2 straight. So they had that nice win against Phoenix, and they followed up with another nice win at Utah. And there was a lot of people on our show Wednesday that liked the Jazz there. But the line wasn't moving towards the Jazz, and the Spurs took care of business. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. We have San Antonio as a big home dog. They're +9. They opened up at 9.5. There's a half-point move towards the Spurs. Then from a total side of things, this is sitting at 213. 213. This opened up at 212. 213.5, and it's juiced to the over. So it's climbing. This total is climbing. And then when we get to the cash flow here for the Spurs spot, we have, here we go. We have 91% of the tickets on the Knicks. We don't have cash flow. 88% of the tickets on the under. And then, the big question is Wemby going to be there? And he's not on injury report at all. He's going to be in the lineup. Burks game time decision, Anunoby and Randall out. Bobano, why wouldn't we be on the Spurs to cover this number?
Because I really like the way the Knicks are playing right now. I'm not saying this is a great spot for the Knicks either. They're coming off 3 big blowout wins against Brooklyn, Detroit, and Toronto. They play San Antonio here. They got a huge game back home with Oklahoma City after this. So this is not a great spot for the Knicks. It's actually the only thing holding me off laying it with the Knicks, because to me, they're a bet-on team right now. They're playing well, especially when they play worse competition. But San Antonio has picked it up, and I respect what San Antonio has done here the last few games. They've played better. So from that standpoint, I think it's tough to lay in this spot with New York, but I don't want to go against New York either. So from a side perspective, it's a pass for me in this game. I'm going to go against the market move here with the total, though. They've bet it under. It opened 216 down to 213, 213.5. Knicks are playing overs again without OG Anunoby, one of their best defenders, maybe their best defender. Overall. And then San Antonio, we know their defensive liability at times, but they're offensively capable. So I'm going to take over 213 minus 105 at Caesars. I think this total's going the wrong way.
I want to jump in on the Spurs here. I want to sort of fade the Knicks after beating the Raptors by 44. It's really weak competition.
Yep.
And Spurs are playing their best ball right now. So I'm interested in this. I'm interested in the Spurs. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Bobano moving on the over at 213 at minus 105. 9 p.m. Eastern, we have 3 games left in NBA. Minnesota Timberwolves 15-22, 24-13 on the road at the Denver Nuggets, 51-22, 29-7 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Both teams 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the bottom third of the league pace. 94.5 possessions a game for Minnesota and 95.9 possessions a game for Denver. Again, in this spot, Edwards game time decision, Gobert game time decision, of course, Towns out, Jokic game time decision, Jamal Murray game time decision. I don't know if you can get us more information on that, but it's obviously crucial to the cap. The Timberwolves have won 3 straight, look good doing it, just got off beating Detroit 106-91 at home, beat the Warriors by 4, beat up on the Cavs, and that was on the heels of starting this homestand with the loss to the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets, so that started it all, and now we come full circle. Nuggets coming off an embarrassing loss against Phoenix, but I mean, is it going to be Gobert versus Jokic? I mean, this is just crucial information here from a spread perspective. Actually, we'll start with the total. This total is sitting at 213.5. Opened up at 212.5, so we have that 1.5 point move towards the over. And from a spread perspective, we are sitting here with it at Denver or Minnesota at +7. They open up at +6.5, so we have a half-point move towards the Denver Nuggets. And when we get into the cash flow here, we have 57% of the tickets on the Timberwolves. We have no cash information, 52% of the cash on the over. And we do have from Mikey Money, the your grandma is wearing your sister's panties again play of the day that cashed last out. Brewers first 5. We'll discuss that when we get to baseball. Take it away here, Bobano, Timberwolves, Nuggets.
So we know that Edwards and Gobert are questionable. Murray is questionable game time decision. Jokic is in. Okay, Jokic is the one that will play for Denver. Jokic is in. Murray's questionable, and we got Edwards and Gobert questionable. Let me just put it this way. The one thing I will not do is bet against Denver at home off a home loss. I'm just not doing that. This is a team that's very good off a loss. It's championship pedigree. I expect a bounce-back effort from Denver. But do I want to lay 6.5, 7 without knowing if Murray's going to play? That's the question. For now, it's a pass. I could only look Denver in this spot.
Yeah, and BJ saying Nuggets need Murray. Yeah, but we all can keep an eye on what's going on here. When Jamal Murray comes in, unfortunately, the line will move a little bit, but we all know what's up. I think Denver. I want to figure out how to get on Denver, but yes, I want Jamal Murray out there, but I like the look. We move on to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Houston Rockets to the Utah Jazz. The Trill OG play today is the Rockets team total over 118.5. Rockets 37-35, 11-24 on the road. Jazz 29-44, 20-17 at home at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Houston playing great basketball. That overtime win, even with OKC on the second half back-to-back, even missing Shea, was still impressive. We know the road has been a weakness, an Achilles heel of sorts. They're playing 7th fastest pace, 100.31. Jazz, in the throes of a massive losing streak, playing at the 4th fastest pace, 101.10 possessions a game. Polo this, Polo that, by the way, is back on KCP 3s here. Let's get into the spread for this one. We got to be tight. MLB is calling our name. Houston opening up at -7.5. It just moved to 8. Moved to 8 about 25 minutes ago. So that's the first move to 8. When we get to the no Markel, MLB is next. One more game and then we get into MLB. From a total side of things, this is sitting at 230. It is juiced to the under. This opened up at 229. It's bounced all over the place, but now we're sitting with that half-point move. And then when we get to the cash flow, 64% of the tickets and 72% of the cash is on the Houston Rockets, 67% of tickets on the under. Take it away, Bobano. Second to last game on the card, Rockets Jazz.
Yeah, Markkanen game time decision for Utah, and Şengün is out for Houston. So those are the main injuries here you got to be aware of here for the Rockets and the Jazz. I think Utah's run out of gas. I mean, they've lost 7 in a row now. They've covered just 1 point spread during that time. And that was a game where they were 15.5 point dogs at OKC and they lost by 12. I don't want any part of Utah right now. I don't normally lay it with Houston on the road. I'm going to here. I think Utah, stick a fork in them. They just don't look like they've got anything in the tank. They're not playing well at all. And I love the way the Rockets are playing. The Rockets are playing with incredible determination to try to make it into the play-in tournament, which they still have a shot to make it. But they got to keep winning. They got to keep the pedal to the metal here going into this game against the Jazz. Don't lay points with Houston often, especially on the road, but I'm going to here. Houston -7.5, -110 at Bet Rivers.
Rockets -7.5 at -110 for Bobano at Bet Rivers. Let's talk about the final game on the board before we get into MLB. Dallas Mavericks 43-29, 21-14 on the road. The Sacramento Kings 42-30, 21-14 home at Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. You know, like the Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks are rolling right now, playing really good basketball. Now, Luka is a game time decision here. Bobano, if you could let us know your thoughts on whether he's going to be in lineup. They come off absolutely destroying Sacramento in this building. 132-96. Sacramento completely no-showed a second game home. They were on a 2-game winning streak and just an absolute no-show. You have to think that they're going to come and bounce back here. Dallas shot 55.4 from the field and 56.4 from three. And Sacramento was terrible, 38.9% from the field. When we get into the line history here, we have the total sitting at 231.5 at a pick'em. This opened up at 230. So we have a 1.5 move towards the over. And then from a spread perspective, we are sitting here with Sacramento -1 at -106, which tells us, you know, that Luka is very likely to be in. So there's been a 0.5 point move towards Dallas, very minimal. And when we get to the cash flow here for the final game, you have 80% of the tickets on Dallas and 49% of the cash, 79% of tickets on the over. How in the world do we not bet the Sacramento Kings here?
Yeah, I would lean that way. I don't know. There's something weird. I've got a weird vibe about Sacramento because there's been games where I thought, hey, they got to step up, answer the bell, and they haven't always done that.
That's true.
But this is a spot where I think it should happen here for the Sacramento Kings. I certainly don't want Dallas, especially with Luka very much questionable. It looks like as of right now with Luka, he's true game time decision. So we'll have to wait on that as far as his status is concerned. But you're right. There's no way in a back-to-back with the same two teams, especially in the same building, am I going to take the team that just won 132-96 like Dallas did. So by default, it's Sacramento only. But I'm going to wait to. I like the way the Mavs are playing too. That's another thing. The Mavs have played some pretty good basketball here the latter part of March. We'll see if that can carry over here into this game tonight. But yeah, I mean, certainly I'm not going to go against Sacramento off the kind of beatdown they had the other night. I am going to take the over in this game. I agree with the total moving up. What I like to look at is 132 from Dallas in that last game, and we only got 96 from Sacramento. Sacramento's going to score a lot more tonight, but I'm not convinced they're going to completely shut down Dallas again either. So I think it sets up well for more points in this game. 231.5 -105 at Pinnacle.
I'm going to be on, and I'm going to bet it as soon as the show ends. I'm going to be, and I should probably bet it during the show just in case. Well, I guess it's going to true game time won't be. BJ saying the road team's been profitable in the series. I have to back with Mikey Money. This is just
definitely
spot.
Sacramento spot, of course, after an ass kicking like that, no doubt.
I'm on them 100%.
It's a little too flighty for me, but I still could only look Sacramento. I'm not going to look Sacramento, but it's the only lean I would go with here.
What's that, 231.5, did you say?
Yes, that's right.
With what juice?
-105.
-105.
By the way, before we wrap up too, I want to make, I'm going to add a couple here to the card. I am going to get in on Indiana here, -3.5, -118 at Bouquett. So Indiana -3.5, -118 at Bouquett. That's one ad. I'm also going to add Detroit here, +4.5, -112 at Proline Plus. I've talked myself into the Pistons here. +4.5, -112 against Washington. And the last ad, a third ad.
Stay with me. Bobano on the Pistons +4.5 with what juice?
+4.5, -112.
Okay, you're good. Keep rolling.
And then the last one, I am worried Cleveland might just kill them because they're going to have Mitchell back but that series history and the way the Cavs have looked so disjointed lately, and it's not a sure thing. Mitchell comes back wearing the mask. They're going to be, fluid and running. I'm going to take the Philly side here, the Sixers, +8.5, -110 at BetMGM. So there we go.
Bobano
the card is complete.
Bobano on the Sixers, +8.5, -110. I love it. Bobano, I know you got to run. I will review all of your action. I'll also let everybody know about the strikeout prop in the Brewers game, but I know you got to run. Thank you so much for sticking. I know that we ran you 8 minutes late. Thank you, my man. What an excellent job. That was extremely enjoyable. Thank you for all your hard work. And please support our guy Bobano. Support the Ice Guys. Remember, he's got the new Twitter handle, Bobano Bets, because his last one got ganked. So please support our guy Bobano. Bobano, that was spectacular, man. Thank you. Any last words for the Kuiper Sporting Show?
No, just let's have a great weekend. Let's cash some tickets. Enjoy the Sweet 16. Saturated. Congratulations to your Illini making it to the Elite Eight. If Terrence Shannon plays like Michael Jordan, because they're going to need him to on Saturday if they have any chance against UConn, never say never. That's all I'll say about Illinois going into that game. But I can't wait for that game. I can't fucking wait for that Illinois-UConn game because Illinois can't be stopped right now, and UConn looks like they're just trucking teams left and right. So that's a great collision we got Saturday. I can't wait. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Jimmy, good luck this weekend. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.
There he is, Bobano. Let's review NBA action. Bobano's on the over 242.5 minus 112 and Lakers Pacers and Pacers minus 3.5. We're off the Warriors Hornets. I want the Pacers. Bobano's on the Clippers Magic over 211.5 minus 110. I want the Magic, but I am going to wait a bit on that. I would like the market to mature. Bobano's on the Pistons plus 4.5. Bulls Nets no action. Bobano's on the Sixers plus 8.5. He's on the over 208.5 in Portland, Miami. He's on OKC plus 2. That's another spot that I'm going to move on, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on that one. Yes, I have Mikey money. I'm concerned about my Flyers to not make the playoffs with Kostetsov. Is that it? Kostetsov coming in? I'm going to be on the Spurs. I'm going to bet that after the show. Bobano's on the over 213 at minus 105. I'm going to be on the Nuggets. I'm going to sit with that a little bit. When exactly is the right time to move on it? LJ from H-Town Trill OG play today's Rockets team total over 118.5. Bobano's on the Rockets minus 7.5, minus 110. And for me, I don't care how bad the Jazz are playing, and maybe they have, let go of the season, but in that high altitude with the Rockets, I know the Rockets are trying. I'm certainly not going to be on the Jazz, but I don't know if I'm on the Rockets. I'm going to be on the Sacramento Kings. I can understand you guys saying that the Mavs need this win and all that stuff, but are the Kings not men? Because they just got treated like little bitches, embarrassed in front of their home fans. And I'm going to bet on the fact that I believe that they're men, and maybe that will cost me money. We'll see. Bobano's on the over 231.5. Troy Torrance putting his action in here as well. Says Magic Clippers over and Kings is his only interest. I'm going to copy and paste that. All right, it is time to get into MLB and bring on the star of Say Hey Plays of the Day. This is Betting with the Bag, and it turns into Say Hey Plays of the Day. We're both coming off winning starts. Please welcome from San Antonio, Texas, by way of Venezuela, our guys and yours, Mr. Jose Bouquett. Jose, how are you?
Good, Jimmy. Good start. Of course, my shelves are barren because they'll fall if they have anything on them, but it's all right. Good start to the season.
I don't think your mic is on. Let's mess with your mic for me. It's
Jesus,
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a great start.
Okay.
So thankfully we're good, hopefully, but
there we go, my man. Yes, it was a good start. Now we only have 28 minutes, which is lots of time for game number 1. A lot of love coming in for the Milwaukee Brewers, but why don't you touch on how you felt day 1 went, and why don't we put up the records, because I want to see exactly what went on for you.
Yeah, it was not bad. I was 5-2 overall, and I went 3-2 yesterday. The under in that fucking game really pissed me off. The A's Cleveland game. Cleveland just scored 6 in their own right and did that. But no, I can't complain with a 5-2 start. We're up units. I'd like some action today. I have action in the first game. Helga's stomping around in the background right now, and I have to do a show in front of her, which makes me feel a little awkward, but it's okay. Hopefully I'll make money and won't have to, sell ass on the corner for money on the weekends. So who knows? Well,
let's keep rolling. There's been a ton of love for these Milwaukee Brewers. I just want to go over some of the best bets in MLB so everybody knows, because we know how important the chat is. And let's do it. So Morgan Spooner, right off the top, his MLB play today is the Brewers money line at minus 105. He also loves Creighton. Perky Bump Sanderson says Brewers money line, best bet of the day. Quintana looked like a AAA pitcher this spring. It's cold windy and chilly. I see Brewers with an obvious pitching edge with the better bullpen. Justin McKelvey gave us Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases. That's the stacks play of the day. The smooth balls play of the day is Ross Stripling under 3.5 strikeouts. Then we have Joseph Thompson, MLB best bet, Milwaukee Brewers first 5 money line. The pig milk play today is NHL, so we don't need to go there. So I just wanted to go over a couple of those spots. Now, we've already heard that our guy, Bobano, has moved on Peralta over 6.5 strikeouts at plus 116. BJ gave us his best bet. It's the Astros money line. And I'll go over them again. TJ's best bet, not a gift, but a best bet is Toronto first 5 at plus 100. Lamont Williams gave us his max bet. It's Tampa Bay run line. Then we got Hunter Englehart's action. And he's got Jay's first half money line for 2 units, Jay's first half plus 1.5, and first half under 4.5 parlay at 1 unit. And he's got Mets first half minus 0.5 at a unit. He's also got Cleveland first half minus 0.5 and full game minus 1.5, and Seattle Boston full game over 7.5. Moose Money gave us the San Francisco Giants, a team total over, but I want to talk about that once we get to that. And then Mikey Money gave us your grandma's wearing your sister's panties play today again, Brewers first 5. So there's been an enormous amount of love for the Milwaukee Brewers. Before I set up the game, what's your first instinct when you hear about how much love is being given to the Milwaukee Brewers in this situation?
I'm on them. Yeah, I'm on them team total wise though. So okay. Yeah, I'm on them. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of love, and Jimmy, you'll like the market in this game. I think at least you've got the bigger bets on them, lines moving towards them. So I think you'll like them.
Let's go forth into the night. Now, one thing I'll tell you about Jose Quintana is he befuddles me. He makes me pretty uncomfortable.
I remember this
situation. So I'll tell you that he is a problem. Let me also say that it was a tough 2 hours and 15 minutes to get here. Broke down NHL, NCAA, and NBA. Bobano was excellent, and all of you in the chat were excellent. And I'm really excited to be now on MLB. Really excited. So we have 10 games in MLB, and then we have our horse race. I feel like the work's kind of done. Now we can have some fun. We start at 1:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Milwaukee Brewers, 92-70 last year, 43-38 on the road last year at the New York Mets, 75-87, 43-38 at home. Now, I never did the National League breakdown last year, and had I have done that, I would have been all over the Mets under. Because you remember that first day of the season, we looked at that lineup and we were like, what, that's it? That's what?
Yeah, that's $500 million.
Citi Field in Queens, New York. Let's get to the weather. Let me refresh the Swish Analytics because it is up today. So let me refresh that. Weatherized. And again, we still have 24 minutes to get our action in. 51 Fahrenheit at first pitch. 16.1 miles per hour left to right, but in. We have Freddie Peralta. 12-10, 3.86 ERA, 1.12 whip, 165 2/3, 210 Ks, 54 walks. I've been cheering for Freddie Peralta for so long. Remember, 2 years ago, I told you he was the best pitcher on the staff when he was doing poorly. He's only 27 years of age. It feels like he is a 32-year-old man. We've been capping him for so long. The total is sitting at 7, a real 7. Now, Pinnacle has it listed at 7.5, but it's minus 119 to the under, which is a real 7.5 to them. Then from a side perspective here, we have Milwaukee sitting right now at plus 104. Plus 104. There's been very little movement in this one. They opened up at minus 104. They're now, it just moved to plus 103 2 minutes ago. So there's been an 8-cent move to the New York Mets. Now, these are Pinnacle line moves. That's what I focus on. 53%, 52% of tickets, and 80% of the cash is on the Milwaukee Brewers, but we have a line move towards these Mets. Then 41% of the tickets and 82% of the cash is on the over. So Peralta was very good last year. 210 strikeouts and 165 2/3. You already heard Bobano on this over 6.5 strikeouts at plus money. He allowed a lot of runs this spring. A lot. Now, he's somebody that I wouldn't be concerned. He's been in the league long enough. No concern, really, if you're backing him. 12 earned runs over 15 innings. But he did show his stuff. In his last start, he got 9 strikeouts and 4 1/3. And that was on March 22nd. 9 strikeouts and 4 1/3. And then you have Jose Quintana, 3-6, 3.57 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Just played 75 2/3 last year, 60 Ks, 24 walks. Here's another pitcher who hasn't pitched very much over the last few seasons because of injuries. He allowed just 2 earned runs through his first 3 appearances over 8 2/3. Then he got touched up for 5 earned runs over 3 innings in his last appearance 6 days ago against the Astros. The Brewers were average against lefties in 2023, 249, 731 OPS. I tell you what, nothing here makes me want to back the Milwaukee Brewers. But I don't feel like I want to back Quintana. I don't want to go up against all you guys. But there's nothing here. What is the advantage that the Brewers have? Can you go over the starting lineups? And I'll pull that up as well. Can you go over the starting lineups and can you tell me where the advantages are?
So here's the interesting thing. When I bet this, the line on the screen was, the line on the screen, minus 104, minus 106. So all that's been late movement on the Mets, which has been very interesting. And by the way, Swish is back up. Yeah, they need a day to get their shit together. And the wind is just howling now, which is not ideal because, you've got totals wise, 39% of the bets and 82% of the money on the over. But now you're starting to see 7s pop up. And I feel like now the weather is starting to go against us here in that aspect. So that's not an ideal thing. But I'll bring up the lineups right now. And for some reason, every time
I got it up here.
Okay, well, go ahead then.
You have Churrillo in right field, batting leadoff. Is he going to be a monster off the top of the lineup for the Brewers this year?
I have no idea. I'm very interested to see that myself. Dude was born in 2004. So that's crazy. I'll tell you, the only real bright spot for me in this Brewers lineup, and who knows what Christian Yelich is going to give you, is William Contreras. And if you look up who the best hitters against lefties were last year, you'll be shocked to find out that William Contreras is the second best hitter weighted runs created plus wise against lefties, 190. And that's just one guy, obviously, but that was shocking to see. So maybe there's a prop or a parlay or a prop in there for you.
Contreras batting second, Yelich third, Hoskins fourth, Adames fifth, Perkins, Ortiz, Gary Sanchez, DHing, Monasterio playing third, Nemo, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, Marte, Stewart, Alvarez, Beatty, and Bader is the lineup for the Mets. Where is the advantage? Personally, I don't see the edge or the angle.
See, I don't believe in Quintana. I think I agree with people that say that he's a washed up old man, et cetera, et cetera. Now we've said that like 3 years ago, and the last, I said 4 years ago. In the last 2 years, he's been great. Last year he was hurt, so kind of washed that. But I just don't believe in the guy, really. I just think the Brewers can scratch across some runs here off of Quintana. And it's not like the Mets bullpen isn't something that scares me either as well. So 3.5 is a low enough one number that makes me feel good about taking the 4.5 or the over there. Now, I don't know who wins this ball game. I agree with you there. I saw some very interesting stats about the Mets and their opening day record. Now, I kind of don't believe in that, bullshit, like times they've played this opening day and how good they are, et cetera, et cetera. But for everyone's consideration here, MLB best the Mets are at home. Or I say, yes, this is at home, actually. Oh, no, this is just on opening day. Excuse me. 41-21 on opening day. A 600 winning percentage there. 661. Pretty good. Won 41 of their last 54. They've won 6 of their last 7. They've won 6 of their last 7 in Citi Field. And 23 of their last 26 home opening day games. Pretty shocking, all those numbers. Now, I also saw another stat in the baseball gambling group chat. Shout out to them. This is their first opening day with people in their stadium since 2018.
Jesus.
Like, Jay Bruce was on the lineup for the Mets. I saw that. I was like, oh, my God. It's Jay Bruce. Kevin Plawecki was in there.
Oh, Plawecki. I used to love
that's my guy. I love Kevin Plawecki. Good guy.
Good backup catcher.
So yeah, I definitely can see why everyone, is leaning Mets now for sure. Now I put in the bet. I'm already on Brewers team total of 3.5 minus 118. I'm in there. But I'm hoping this is an over game and we get a lot of runs on both sides here. Now, I also like Freddie Peralta. I'm right there with you on that, but I just don't know how he's going to do this year on a really shit team, and who knows? It's still early, but yeah, I think this is going to be a high scoring game, but those stats are very convincing for the Mets. I'll tell you that.
They are. This is, I guess, I don't want to go up against. There's so many of my colleagues here that are on the Brewers, but this is becoming more and more and more appealing to the Mets here. I guess I got 16 minutes. Abel A coming off a 6-1 day. We did just great work as a squad.
Yeah, everyone killed it yesterday. Jeez.
DC Capper, I copied and pasted your action. Thank you so much for sharing it, my friend. Okay, so what was the juice you got on the team total over 3.5?
Minus 118 I got. And Kelsey asking about the over. I lean over. Like I said, I'm hoping it's a high scoring game. The market in it, it's 40% of the bets and 81% of the money on the over. So, and 41,000 tickets. So obviously they're bigger bets on the over in this game. So now again, the weather scary, but.
Yeah, and Fanatical Jim saying wind gusts up to 45 mile per hour possible. And Troy Torrance saying sharp action on the over. This is a situation that he's building his database about. Sharp action on the over, total less than 8, pick 'em price range, 15-1 to the over.
Yeah, I'm glad. That makes me feel better. And by the way, shout out to our guy, Dommy Gunn. We used to call Dommy Gunn for weather reports. Shout out to Dommy.
I miss him.
I do too. I love that guy. I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but I remember him telling me wind gusts like we're swirling, just like in San Francisco as well. So I don't know if they mean as much in New York with that aspect. But go ahead,
Jackal. I think this is the first non-negative thing he's ever written in the chat in the history that he's been here. The first time, and we're talking 100 negative things he said about me and about our show. And now he says, how do you know how many tickets are on a game? There's different sites that you could use. I use the Action Network because it's cheaper, but yeah, it's pretty cheap, $100 a year, but there's spots where they don't give you the cash flow information, and it's very frustrating. Okay, well, Jose's on the Brewers team total over 3.5 minus 118. I have 14 minutes to decide if I want to be on the other side and fade Freddie Peralta and fade some of these colleagues that I love. Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 3:05 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Braves 104-58, 52-29 on the road. Philadelphia Phillies 49-32 at I just got their home record. Citizen Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, this is the only bet I have on the card right now. We're in Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Take a look at the weather there. It is 53 Fahrenheit with 16-mile winds right across the diamond. That is perfect for these two phenomenal pitchers. Let's get into the line history here. And I guess you guys are already getting an idea of where I'm at on this one. We have, from a money line standpoint, Zach Wheeler sitting at plus 115. He opened up at plus 113, so a 2-point move towards Strider. From a total side of things, this is sitting the over 7 at minus 109. This opened up at 7.5. What I care about is the first 5. So from a first 5 perspective, and again, these are not double up days for me. Double up days will come, but we're day 2 of the season. This is under 4 at minus 110. Well, that certainly
that's dropped.
Certainly makes me nervous.
Oh, that's not what you got. I thought that you got it's not 3.5.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Thank God. I was about to, my eyes were popping out. I was about to fucking. Okay, the under 3.5 is at plus 101.
Okay,
the under 3.5 got to minus numbers. I'm on the under 4 at minus 125. First 5 under 4 minus 125. And that was at Bet 365. At the time, it was minus 133 at Pinnacle, which is something that you rarely see. 365 sort of dropping the ball, getting a better number. Kong's clip says Nerfy spot.
I mean,
BJ says 2 ace levels and 2 powerful lineups, no edge to be betting, LOL pass. So I'll just tell you guys my edge, but let's touch on the cash flow here. And maybe it isn't a real edge. It's all good. 60. Oh, we have 90% of the tickets and 90% of cash on the under. That's a very public spot, but we've seen the market react. The markets reacted normally. 34% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Phillies. 34 and 84. 34 and 84. Now the market's not moved, but so Spencer Strider last year, 20 and 5, 3.86 ERA, 1.09 whip, 186 and 2/3, 281 Ks, 58 walks. He's spectacular. And we saw him kind of, I don't know if it was arm fatigue or what was, or maybe people started, maybe he was tipping his pitches or what it was, but he started getting rocked late in the year. We were taking these low overs with him. This spring, he was the best pitcher in the league. Now it's spring. Look, I get it. 13 and 2/3, 9 hits, not one earned run. Now maybe he gets lit up game 1. Look, I'm not, 20 strikeouts and 13 and 2/3, 6 walks. Zach Wheeler, 13 and 6, 3.61 ERA, 1.08 whip last year, 192 innings, 212 Ks, 39 walks. This spring, 11 and a third, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 11 Ks, and 1 walk. Now, that would be an incredible spring if it wasn't for Spencer Strider. I think that these two pitchers elevate each other. Now, I've been wrong when I've romanticized baseball, but that's with veterans. I do that with older pitchers that I've watched for too long. I romanticize the situation. I get too excited about the pitching battle, and it's funny because I don't do that in any other sport or in life, but I do that in baseball because it's such a sport that's so near and dear to my heart. Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Harris, Murphy, Arcia, Kelenic. Look, it's a dangerous lineup for the Braves. Phillies, Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Realmuto, Bohm, Stott, Castellanos, Marsh, Rojas. Look, these are very, very good lineups, but these could be the best pitchers in the league facing each other in game 1. And I couldn't believe I could get a 4. I couldn't believe it. And I don't want 1 inning. I know a lot of you guys want nerfies. I respect that. I don't want a 2 innings or 2.5 innings or 3 innings. I want the 5 innings. And my only bet on the board. Jose, floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like the under in this game. Everyone's on it, but at least the market's moving that way. 7.5 to 7. I get it. But I said this yesterday, and you guys are probably going to hear me say this a lot this year. I think these are the 2 best teams in baseball. I think the series between these 2 teams and the DS will decide who wins the National League again. I really think they're just incredible. And unfortunately, I think the Phillies are going to win the World Series this year. I don't know what it is. It's just so fascinating to me watching these teams play, because in the regular season, the Braves just whoop their fucking ass. And then when it comes to postseason time, something changes and the Phillies should just get this team. And, I thought this was fascinating, Jimmy. 8 starts for Spencer Strider against the Phillies in the regular season. Has not lost a game against the Phillies. 8-0 team record when Spencer Strider faces the Phillies in the regular season. Now, let us not forget, he had a potential, legacy defining, stamp it, I am the best pitcher in the National League start in the postseason against these Phillies, and shit down his pants in Citizen Bank Park in a clinching game and lost. I think he's going to want the comeback for that. I'm sure that he'll be amped up for that. I agree with the under. I find it extremely difficult to bet these games against these teams, or these 2 teams. Now, if you go to the market, and Jimmy, you mentioned it, I'm sure, but 36% of the bets and 86% of the money on the Phillies, and it's not really moving. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'll pull it up on my site here again.
2-cent move towards the Braves.
Yeah, I just think this is, why go against a guy that's literally never lost against a team in the regular season? I just think he goes 9-0 today. The Braves win, and the Braves keep winning in the regular season. But again, when it comes to postseason time, I think the Phillies do beat him again. I think it's going to be very interesting, to say the least. So I'm off. This is going to be the best game of the day. And anytime these two teams play, like I say, it's the best two teams in baseball going at it.
I have some interest in the Phillies. I don't feel like it's necessary to get to the window. I would take the plus money with the Phillies at home with Zach Wheeler on mound against Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here.
Are you saying Jesus doesn't have a good curveball, Jim? You can't hit a two-seam?
I trust Zach Wheeler. That's all. All right, let's move on. 6:50 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Blue Jays.
Wow. Under 89.5, whatever it was.
Under 87.5. I still think I cash it. Who cares? Tampa Bay Rays 0-1 where it's Jesus God. You can tell that I haven't slept this week. We're in the Trop here. Chris Bassett, 6. Now, Chris Bassett was a phenomenal signing. Phenomenal. This guy's an innings eater. Great family guy. We love him up here. 16-8, 3.60 ERA, 1.18 WHIP last year, 200 innings, 186 Ks, 59 walks, and he had a really good spring. For an old guy, I don't need the earned runs down. I just want, he in 23 innings he had 22 strikeouts and 4 walks. He did allow 11 earned runs. Chris Bassett on the bump. Let's talk about the line history before we get into Savali and the opening or the lineup here. This is sitting with Savali at minus 126. This opened up. Oh, Jesus, it's moved all the way back. Wow. In the last 20 minutes. Wow. Okay, so now there's been no move. This was minus 130 23 minutes ago. A big move back to the Jays. So now there's been no move. It's right where it opened. Wow, I really did not expect to see that. And then from a total side of things, sorry I'm on the first 5. Let me just quickly switch back to the full game here. It's going to take a second to load, unfortunately.
I'm going to love I need Troy to make notes of these like early moves and then moves back the other way and let us know how that reacts to the market. Because I've seen a couple of those and like in the Mets Brewers game, like it early moves to the fucking Brewers and then swings all the way back to the Mets. So let us know here, Troy.
Then we get into the total in this one. Sorry, I was on first 5. The total is sitting here at 8. It's juiced to the under at minus 112. This is exactly where it opened. So now we have a money line and total exactly where it opened. When we get to the cash flow, they're not giving it. Oh, yeah, they are. Sorry. 38% of the tickets and 48% of cash is on the over. 22% of the tickets and 32% of the cash is on the Toronto Blue Jays. Wow.
I just don't get it. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested because who the hell is Aaron Savali? Because when he was a Cleveland Guardian, he was spectacular. 5-2, 2.34 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, 77 innings, 58 Ks, 22 walks. He looked really good. He comes to Tampa with the gods of pitching coaches, and he falls apart. 2-3, 5.36 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. His strikeouts explode. 58 strikeouts in 45 1/3. So he had the same number of strikeouts in 32 less innings, and everything else blows up. He hasn't pitched. Now, of course, he's pitched. I mean, just like in an exhibition game or anything, since March 10th. 5 2/3 he went in the spring. 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 Ks, 2 walks. Why would I want anything to do with this question mark? What? Because I trust the gods of pitching coaches that are the Rays? Take it away, Jose. Bassett, Savali, Jays, Rays.
Yeah, I didn't move on this game either. I'd rather be on the Blue Jays here. Agreed there. I think the Rays are going to be a last place baseball team this year. And I know that's sacrilege to say because they always find a way to, figure the shit out. But their offense peaked in their best form last year. Like they had the first half was just incredible. And I just don't think that's them. Their pitching staff and they're starting to, maybe fairly get the reputation of an organization that really doesn't give a fuck. They'll tell you to throw as hard as you can, whip that shit, and every pitcher in their farm system is going to get Tommy John at some point because that's what they just do. So I don't know. I just don't think this Rays team is very good, and I think the Blue Jays are just better. So if you're giving me plus money with a team I think is better, and fucking nobody was at opening day for the Rays yesterday, and are there going to be people there today? Probably not. So I probably lean Blue Jays with you here too, but it didn't make my card.
I don't think I'm just going to lean Blue Jays. I think I bet them. Savali is such a question mark. You have 22% of the tickets on the Blue Jays. Line going over to them. And this will be perfect for me because we're going to be doing. We got 7 more games, so it'll be probably about 4 in the horse race. So probably 45 more minutes before I bet it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a team total here for the Blue Jays at all. You know,
look, I'm not high on the Jays, Markel, my guy. It's not a thing. It's just we're just trying to make money. That's it.
It's going to be really humorous for me, Jimmy, when you come in and the Blue Jays are doing good or whatever. But I'm still like, 87.5 wins though.
$500, man. That's how it is. I would love it if they go over. Seriously, if I have a good season,
Yeah.
who cares about $500 if I have a good season?
Yeah, if we have a good season, yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, and you know,
if the Red Sox finish last and I have a good season, I would be thrilled.
People have said to me as well. They've said like, you have no futures on Blue Jays. What if this is their year? And it'd be great. I'd be so happy for it. I don't. It's fine. Wine times on the over in this spot. Bo Jackson, Mets and Rays. JP says he can see 9 runs in this spot. DC Capper, I will copy and paste that action. Nate Dogg 420 is on Toronto run line in the over. Vladdy and Springer to hit a home run. Bo Jackson says everyone horny for Bassett. Oh, let me hit this again. Bassett's not an ace. He's not the ace of our staff. If you went into the playoffs and he pitched game 1 or game 2, you're losing that series. You're not deep enough at the starting pitching position. But for a guy, you need guys who are going to eat up 200 innings, not named Kyle Gibson. You know, like he's I just think it was a good signing and
he's a solid 2-3. And he's not an asshole.
3 or 4. He's the 4th starter on a good team, you know. So the Blue Jays, well, this will be my first bet on the Blue Jays. I wasn't on them yesterday. I'm excited. Let's move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern is the next spot on the board. We have the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have started the year 1-0. What a sweat. What a sweat. I mean, I couldn't even believe. I was so stressed out. First day of baseball, and then all these line moves, like the Blues line move that went so heavy against me. I had this sick feeling. And also, coming off a bad season in baseball, I was like, of course, it's going to blow up my face. The Pirates in extra innings, they don't score a run in the 10th and 11th.
No, they were trying to fuck that game for us. But I texted you as well that the Marlins were just begging to blow that game the entire time. They were just asking to blow that game. And then Henry Davis, oh my God. I can't stand that guy already. I hope he can make up some money for us, but Jesus.
The third base coach.
Just sending him.
I couldn't believe it. You want to blame the player, and then you see the replay, and you see him go like, then you're like, what? How?
Oh my God.
You have one job out there. You have one job. I couldn't. But we got the cash, and you got double the cash because you had the team total over as well. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. We have Martine Perez here, and paying her life, saying a big W yesterday on opening day made bank. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It's great. 32-year-old Martine Perez. I talk about
my guy.
I talk about Freddie Peralta being 27. Martine Perez is only 32.
That's shocking.
Let me ask you this. 2022 was an outlier. Never going to do that again.
The Rangers year where he was really good.
12-8 with a 2.89 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, 196 in the third. I mean, come on. It's just never going to happen again. And okay. In 2023, he was pretty good. 10-4, 4.45 ERA. He ate up 141 innings until the games got important and they didn't want him on the mound.
Yeah, they threw with the bullpen.
Now, he had a great spring. And these old guys, they don't need to have great springs. 10 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, 4 walks. But the Marlins, they hit lefties beautifully last year, and they're just going to hit them harder this year.
Are they?
I believe so. I believe their lineup's more dangerous this year. Now I'd have to go over the individual splits of each player, but so I guess I haven't done full due diligence on that comment. 279 average, 753 OPS. Craig Wood said his Puck not in the bullpen this year. Rand says Puck a bullpen dude last year.
Yes, he was their closer.
Puck looked phenomenal this spring. He's earned this chance to start. He looked good last year, 3.97 ERA, 1.18 whip. This year in 13 2/3 of spring ball, 23 strikeouts and 4 walks, 2 earned runs. And the Pirates, they don't hit lefties. They don't hit. Last year, now they could be better this year, with a healthy Cruz, all that. 246 average, 701 OPS. So you know where I'm going. Now, Johnny Gunn says Puck it and play Marlins first half. Do we need to stay away from the Marlins bullpen?
Well, both these bullpens now are going to be pretty raggedy, A lot of arms used yesterday.
A lot of arms used yesterday is no doubt about it.
And no Bednar for the Pirates as well, for whatever reason. He's not healthy right now. He would have played. He would have pitched yesterday, and the announcers were saying, like, oh, he must not be healthy.
Something's wrong. Or he's sick.
Yeah, he's sick enough or hurt enough not to pitch and not go on the IL. So will we see him today? Will we see him this series? Who knows? It's a good point.
It's a hugely important point.
Because we did not feel great with Luis Ortiz on the bump.
No, we did not. But when it was all said and done, we were chanting his name, screaming it out loud to the neighbors. The total opened up at 8, moved up to 8.5. So we have a half-point move on the total. When we get to the money line here, we have the Marlins sitting at minus 130. They opened up at minus 120. We have a 10-cent move towards them. Then when we get to the cash flow here, we have 27% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the over. That's sharp money. And then we come to the problem. The money line, 88% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the Miami Marlins. So, everybody on them. Take it away, Jose, because that's a problem.
Yeah, I think I lean over in this game. The market has, pushed me kind of in that direction. I'm not going to be on it. I'm not going to be in anything this game. I'll say this. The one of my main takeaways from yesterday was Garrett Crochet is going to be a bet on pitcher this year. I think he's going to be good. And it's interesting because I've been watching baseball long enough now and really keeping track of it to realize or to see Garrett Crochet a couple of years ago, he was an elite bullpen guy. And now they don't have any starters, obviously, so they're saying, fuck it, we need you up there. And Puck was pretty good. And I remember him getting drafted. I remember him being on the A's. He's been passed around like Yankee Schwab now. And he was a pretty good reliever last year. And now they trust him enough to go out to the to the rotation. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, he had to earn it because Garrett Crochet was probably coming into the season going to be a reliever as well. And then he pitched well enough to realize, I'm a starter. Puck obviously pitched well enough to get this start as well. So I believe in him kind of. I think he'll pitch well here early, but I just don't know. I just can't get there. I just think this might be an over kind of game here. I'm a little worried about that. I'll go over the market again for the total here. Real quick, here we are. Sharp money on it. 27% of the bets and 87% of the cash on the over. So I'm just worried. I do think that this is an over game, but
what about a live over? I mean, who cares about our records? We care about our cash. What about a live over? We know the bullpens are taxed a little bit. Bednar went, we don't have him. So what about live over?
If we can get a 7, it would be great. Give him an inning or two.
2 innings.
So we'll see. We'll see. I'd like that. But, here's the thing. You mentioned the lefties and the Marlins. One of the main reasons they were really good against lefties, I'm assuming, was our guy, Big George Soler. He was against lefties the 5th best in the league, 181. It was crazy. So
look who we got in the chat finally.
Oh.
Noli knows. Man, I was just hoping, I was praying. We gotta get these guys. We got baseball's gotta bring them out.
Mhm.
Noli knows in the house. God, it's nice to see you, man. Christopher Tatum on the Pirates money line again at plus 115. And Jose starts talking about overs, and Noli magically appears.
Yeah. Shout out to Noli. Nice to see you. By the way, obviously, first pitch is going in the Marlins or no, the Brewers game. Got on second, 1 out, and of course, Contreras strikes out as he is allegedly the best hitter against lefties all year last year. So we'll see how that goes.
I want the Marlins. I do not want to be on a spot with 80% tickets and 99% of cash, but there is a 10-cent move. So maybe if the market can regulate and Pirates backers can come in, then
sidewise, I think it's Pirates just based off the mark on the 99. Obviously, I don't want to be on that side, but yeah,
I feel you. I feel you, but I do not. I want the Marlins against left. Now, Soler's a great point. Okay, let's roll out. Eldorado Custodian Jason Myers saying shout out to Sharpie and Noli. No, it's 2 great cappers. We move on 8:10 p.m. Eastern. We have the New York Yankees 1-0, and look at that, Kelsey now a PSR Gold member.
Oh boy, respect Kelsey.
A PSR Gold member.
Shout out to Kelsey.
She's got a horse in the race.
Yeah, I think Kelsey, first got into the horses and slowly is getting into the gambling more and more now. But her first love was the ponies, I feel.
She loves to gamble, man. She's a gambler. She's one of us. 8:10 p.m. Eastern, New York Yankees at Houston Astros. This is what stopped me from sweeping the board on day one, 6-0. It was the Astros.
Yeah, I was almost on the Yankees, too. It was a little disappointing.
Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. We have Carlos Rodon and Christian Javier. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Rodon and the Yankees at plus 105, now 107. They open up at plus 120. We have a big move towards.
Oh, you better score, you fucking piece of shit. God damn it. All right, man on the corners. Apologies.
No worries. Got the sack fly in business. The total sitting at 9. It is. It opened up at minus 116 to the under. Now it's plus 101 to the under. So we've had a huge move to the Yankees and a big move to the over. Now it hasn't changed the number. It's still at 9, but still a big move. From a cash flow standpoint here, we have 41% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the under. Bigger bets coming on the under, and it's skyrocketing. Also, we don't have a cash flow, but we have 8% of the tickets on the New York Yankees. 8% of the tickets, and this huge move to Carlos Rodon and the New York Yankees. So last year was nuts. Absolutely messed. Yeah. 3-8, 6.85 ERA, 1.45 WHIP. He did have 64 Ks and 64 in a third, and then overall, his spring numbers aren't bad. 19 and a third, 14 hits, 10 earned runs, 16 Ks, 5 walks. But his last spring start, 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, 5 of which were earned, only 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. And that's okay. You don't want to stress your arm out too much for your first start if you felt fine. Then we have the next problem. The Houston Astros versus lefties.
Oh, yeah.
So BJ says Astros all day, fade Rodon. Astros versus lefties in 2023, 270 with an 809 OPS. Then you have Javier, 10 and 5, 4.56 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. They trust him, but his numbers aren't great. They were not great. It's the same deal. His K to walk ratio is probably not where you want him with the skill set. He went 19 and 3 with 10 hits, 8 and runs, 17 Ks, and 10 walks. Here we go. Jose Bouquett, Yankees, Astros, take it away.
Yeah, I think it was Migos that once said, walk it like I talk it, and I have to do it here. I think Christian Javier is going to be a fade all season. He lost. He's really a 2-pitch pitcher, and you need in baseball traditionally you would want 3 pitches as a starter, and he's more of a reliever. And for some reason, his fastball just wasn't the shits at the end of last year. And I think he's going to be a fade this year. And on the opposite side, I think Carlos Rodon just went through a year of hell. And I just don't think he can pitch worse than that in the last year. Stays healthy. I think Rodon's going to be bet on this year. Again, I took a page out of Sharpie's book and I wrote down all the pitchers that I like this year. Don't bet on. I don't know how many it was. I think it was like 30 some pitchers that I like or something like that. And then a few that I wanted to fade. And Christian Javier was on the fade list. And I feel like everyone, I don't, why am I the highest on the Yankees? It's shocking. I've heard so many people say the Yankees are no better than they were last year, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I would have liked this team a lot better if they would have fired their incompetent manager. Oh, please don't get into a double play. Motherfuckers, dude. These fucking skunts. All right, scoreless first half of the first inning for you nerfy bettors. But I just think this Yankees team's really good. Like I said, I think this is going to be the best Yankees team we've seen in quite a little bit. I think they're going to be better than the Orioles. I think they're going to be better than the Astros. So I took Yankees first 5 full game here. I wanted to take a team total just so I don't have to worry about Rodon and what the fuck he's going to do. But I have to do it here. So I'm on, and I don't love being against BJ. I don't love that, but it's going to be interesting to see how it goes here. I don't feel great about it, and maybe it's just because I'm betting the Yankees. But, yeah, I'll just take the Yankees here and rock and roll.
Well, I don't want to go up against BJ, but
yeah, it's an early test.
The market may force me to. The market may force me to here. 8% of the tickets on them. Sunny Spring saying Yankees all day. It may force me to.
Shout out to Nuke Worker in the chat. nice to see you, Nuke.
He was money in the bank. So what did you get on the Yankees?
Yeah, I took first 5 full game money lines. First 5, I need to double check, was even money, and then full game was plus 104. Yeah, first 5 even money, full game plus 104. I bet him, and I told Helga as she was leaving just now, or well before the show, I should say. And she looked at me. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Blah blah blah. And I told her, "We're betting the Yankees today. We need the Yankees to win." And she was shocked. She was like, "What? I thought I'd never hear those words from you." I was like, "Yeah, man, we need the Yankees today." So we'll see how I feel about them. But yeah, I think the Yankees are going to be very good this year, unfortunately. So
I'm going to keep a very close eye on this market, and if I move, I do find the first 5 a little more appealing. Just after the Yankees comeback.
Yeah, they used all their good arms in the bullpen, obviously. Now, again, I'm expecting Clay Holmes to go again here today if it's a close game. Mm-hmm. And the Astros obviously used Ryan Presley. I don't think I saw Hader. Hader didn't pitch, so we'll see him today, I'm sure. But, yeah, no, I agree with you there. First 5, probably a little more.
A little more. Okay, I'm going to wait again for this market to mature, but I really like this market. I mean, this is just heaven.
And I don't love. Everyone knows I fucking hate. There's 3 entities I just cannot fucking stand in baseball: the Philadelphia shortstop, the Philly shortstop specifically, the New York Yankees, and Evan Longoria. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about Evan Longoria anymore. I think he's not on the Diamondbacks anymore. And now I just fucking hate the Yankees. And I have to bet on them because I think they win this division. And right now, I think they're undervalued. It's shocking. I think this is just a really good team, unfortunately.
And Kong's saying Hader Pacheco. I don't think that I think that now, BJ talking about Javier's numbers against the Yankees. I think that Javier was vulnerable last year, and I think he continues to be this year. And we'll have to wait till this market really kind of matures. But Jose is on Yankees first 5 at even money, full game at plus 104. And I'm not at double dip time for me. I'm not a double dip time. I don't want to double dip.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. Let me tell you, I double dip on the
it's
Pirates yesterday, and I did not feel great. I cashed both, but it's not feeling the best. I'll tell
no.
you that.
I felt like it was a rough day yesterday, and then you finish 8-4, and you're like, I don't know. Let's move
Wow,
on.
how the fuck did I do that?
Well, I just felt sick. I felt sick watching the Flames Blues game with the market going against me, just knowing that the Flames were going to score again. It just felt sick, and then you cash it. All right, let's move on to 9:40 p.m. Eastern. We have Jose's Boston Red Sox starting the year behind Brian Bayo's very nice performance. Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. It's cold, so the roof will be up. We also have the taint play of the day. Seattle first 5 minus a half at even money. Shout out to our guy, Matty Ice, and sweet Tank. Slick Nick Pivetta. We have 2 Canadians pitching today. I like to fade Pivetta as much as possible. Victoria, BC's own Slick Nick Pivetta on the bump. Let's talk about the line history here. This total is a 7. It's not the most real 7. It's plus 108 to the under. So it is still sort of a 7.5. Now it opened at under 7.5 minus 114. It's certainly not that anymore. Then from a money line perspective here, we have, move over here. From a money line perspective, we have the minus 133 on the Seattle Mariners, open up at minus 155. So we have a huge move to the Boston Red Sox. Then from a cash flow spot, we have 22% of tickets and 21% of the cash on the over. We have 20% of the tickets and 55% of the cash on the Boston Red Sox. Phoenix, thank you so much for the kind words. Welcome, my friend. And Slick Nick, 10-9, 4.04 ERA, 1.12 whip, 142 2/3, 183 Ks, 50 walks. There's going to be so many of his family members and, people he grew up with in the stands. Obviously, everybody handles that differently. So I can't tell you, it's just going to happen. He's just going to have family members and friends all in the stands. Going up against George Kirby, 13-10, 3.35 ERA, 1.04 whip, 190 2/3, 172 Ks, 19 walks. In the spring, he went 14 2/3, 16 hits, 9 earned runs, 15 Ks, 3 walks. Kirby's going to be spectacular. He's very emotional on the mound, and he's very confident. And I don't know really what he's going to do here. This market is telling me that the Sox are live here yet again. I can't wait to hear your breakdown. Take it away, Red Sox Mariners.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to Tyler O'Neill. 5 straight opening day home runs. Most ever. Fucking ridiculous. Hilarious. Shout out to Alex Cora for winning his first opening day as well. Very funny. Yeah, so you guys know I'm not going to bet the Red Sox. Again, we're going to mark it down as a second successful day to not betting the Red Sox. But I think if I was betting the Red Sox, Nick Pivetta is the most bet on pitcher in the Red Sox in the early part of the season. Not even just because he's playing a home game pseudo because Canada and all that good stuff. Led spring training, was one of the top guys in Stuff Plus in his pitching. Just pitched out of his mind. A leader in this pitching staff. Very young pitching staff. Everyone's going to look for him as a leader. I think he embraces that. He's like the Red Sox. You know how they all have representatives for the fucking player association bullshit. He's the Red Sox guy, so I think he takes that leadership shit personally. And on top of all of this, he's a free agent at the end of the year. So this is all the motivation in the world to go pitch well. I just think that George Kirby is so fucking good. He is, I'd call him my favorite non-Red Sox pitcher. I just can't get there with betting either side here. And of course you could look at the under, but there's just a shitload of money and shit on the under that makes it a little uncomfortable. 78% of the bet, 79% of the money on the under. And interestingly enough, I was trying to look at this while you were talking. Is this total gone up? Because was it open up at 7 and gone to 7.5, or did it go the opposite? I'm looking right now. It opened up at 7.5. And it opened up at 7 minus 115, and then some 7s are starting to pop up. Bovada's put up a 7. Bet Online has a 7.5 minus 120. Soon probably going to be 7. So yeah, I probably go under here, lean under first 5 full game, but I can't get there, So I pass on this game, but I'll say I think Nick Pivetta is going to be bet on this year. I think he's going to be great. And I think George Kirby easily could be, top 5 Cy Young guy this year. He already has Cy Young votes already, and I think he's incredible. So, yeah.
I know you're trying so hard not to bet the Red Sox, but wouldn't this market really appeal to you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's extremely appealing. It's Red Sox or pass again. It's shocking again, and I'm trying to keep mental notes of when the line in the market moves towards the Red Sox, how they do, because I feel like constantly the lines are moving towards the Red Sox, and I have to battle between, is this public, is this sharp action, blah blah blah. But yeah, I get it, and it makes a whole lot of sense to me. And if I wasn't betting the Red Sox, I'd probably be on them, especially because 20% of the bets, 55% of the money on them, bigger bets with 12,000 tickets in, so good enough sample size. Lines move their direction. Makes all the sense in the world. Makes all the sense in the world to me. But I'm just, I have to stick to my rules. If I bend my rules, then I'll start breaking other rules, and it's not good. So 100% Red Sox are pass for me, and I'll keep saying it. Nick Pivetta is a bet on pitcher this year, and it's going to be fun to watch him.
I fear Kirby in this situation. He's very emotional. He's a phenomenal pitcher, but he's very young, emotional. It's going to be absolutely packed. I kind of fear Nicky with all his family and friends watching too. I expect that I'm going to be on the Red Sox here is what I expect. All right, let's roll on. Next up, we have 9:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Cleveland Guardians at the Oakland Athletics. Guardians smash and grab. I mean, you put it out on a silver platter for us with Bieber. You gave it to us. You gifted it to us.
Yeah, he was going to be dominant, and he did. Those fuckers on the Cleveland Guardians decided to hit a lefty. But yeah, no, he was excellent. Let's
start with the weather in Oakland here. Ain't no roof there. Drizzle. The first pitch could be pushed back. We'll see, but it's not supposed to rain throughout. But it will be raining supposedly at a game time. 13.9 miles per hour out to left field, right across the diamond. Very, very slightly out, just the slightest bit out. From a line history standpoint, we got Logan Allen going up against Ross Stripling. I love that Stripling is going to have to pitch for the A's this year. This total is at 7.5. It opened at 7.5, minus 112 to the over, got to 8, and then back at 7.5. There's been a 3-cent move to the over. Then from a total side of things, that was total, my bad, sorry. From a money line side of things, we have Logan Allen at minus 126, now minus 122. We have our first move to the Oakland A's, 10-cent move to the Oakland A's, which is pretty surprising, but they're expecting Ross Stripling clearly to pitch well. When we get to the cash flow in this spot, we have, my bad. When we get to the cash flow, why can't I get it? My bad. Here we go. We have no help on the total, but 83% of the tickets and 74% of cash on the Cleveland Guardians, which is wild. It's okay. So Logan Allen last year, it looked like a lefty with a lot of promise. 25 years old, 7-8, 3.81 ERA, 1.40 WHIP, 125 in the third, 119 Ks, 48 walks. His first 4 appearances, he looked fine. 13 in the third. This is in spring. 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 11 Ks, 9 walks. Then his last appearance on March 24th, he got lit up. 4 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 Ks, 2 walks. Stripling was an abomination last year, and he had a horrific spring. 18 earned runs and 19 in the third. 18. 30 hits he allowed in 19 and a third. I can't. Yes, the market's moving towards the A's, and God bless the market. I just don't want to be involved here. Take it away, Guardians A's.
Yeah, I'm off too. Maybe it's a sour taste from yesterday, but I'm just off. I wouldn't be surprised at all if because the Guardians have better numbers against righties than they do lefties. Last year they were dominant against. Well, not dominant. They sucked against lefties, and they were okay against righties. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Guardians came out here and didn't hit shit. So I'm off this game. It's very funny to see Russ Stripling here, and it's a pretty short line, if I'm being honest. Minus 130. I know it's the A's. I know it's the Guardians, but it's the A's. They suck dick, and there's not going to be anyone there. So I get it, but I'm off this game. I understand if people bet the A's here, but no action for me.
Let's go to the Diamondbacks game. We're in Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. I imagine that the Chase Field roof is open. Let's just get to that here.
I mean, if Jimmy, we talk about this, there's like mental spots or whatever. If you can't bounce back from giving up 14 runs in one inning, then my God.
So for you guys, and you're capping throughout the weekend, Chase Field roof open today, closed tomorrow and Sunday. So open today, closed Saturday and Sunday. We have Port Hope, Cal Quantrill. Port Hope's Cal Quantrill, 4-7, 5.24 ERA, 1.46 WHIP last year, 99 2/3, 58 Ks, 35 walks. His first 3 spring appearances, he looked really good. And I don't put too much into this stuff. I just think that we need the information. 10 2/3, 13 hits, 3 runs. And then his last spring appearance was March 23rd, 6 days ago. He got lit up in smoke, 4 2/3, 12 hits, 6 runs. Merrill Kelly on the other side, 12-8, 3.29 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. 187 Ks and 177 2/3 with 69 walks. Merrill Kelly is a horse. He's a dog. 35.
You're going to call him a whore.
No, a horse. He's a dog, man. 35 years old, and he just hammers nonstop. He looks ready from spring. He hasn't pitched since March 18th, but if a 35-year-old guy with 14 strikeouts, Nate in the third in spring, so he doesn't need another start, he'll just throw a bit in the bullpen, and then he doesn't need another start. I think Merrill Kelly is the Diamondbacks are very lucky to have a pitcher like him on the mound. So we said the roof is open, 77 Fahrenheit, 12.3 miles per hour left to right, very, very slightly out between 12.3 and 8.7 miles per hour. It starts dipping a little bit as the game goes on. From a money line standpoint here, we have, sorry about that. The kids aren't in school. Arizona opening up at minus 215, now minus 226. We have an 11-cent move towards Arizona, but they're very expensive. And from a total standpoint here, we have it's sitting at 9. Opened up at 8.5. It dropped back to 8.5 a couple times, but now it's at 9 and it's juiced to the over. So we have a move to the over. And then cash flow wise for this spot, we have 53% of the tickets and 71% of cash on the over. It's moved in that direction. Then you have 97% of the tickets on Arizona. 97% of the tickets. I don't know. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember seeing that on the money line. We've seen 97% of the cash, but 97% of tickets. I guess we did in that Howard Norfolk State spot. 97% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Arizona. Take it away. Your thoughts on this spot here, Rockies, Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say here? It's probably Diamondbacks by a good margin. Troy also in the chat here dropping that he thinks that the Diamondbacks win. I believe this is about this game, Troy. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat about the market environment, blah, 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 blah. Let me know if that's this game or the previous game. I'll then read it out fully then. But yeah, I expect the Rockies to get smacked here. But, Cal Quantrill, a former, good, okay pitcher on the Guardians, going to the Rockies where pitchers go to die. His spring training starts, weren't the best, but I get it. So, so I'll read this out for everyone here. In this market environment, last year went 24-4 on the money line, 22-6 against the spread, and this year it's already 2-0. So he's not going to miss it again here. So Troy obviously on Diamondbacks and Dodgers here. And I believe, Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, was it like home favorites minus 200 and the line moves their direction? I believe I remember this from last year as well. Was something you were doing here. So correct me if I'm wrong if that's the parameters for it. But yeah, Diamondbacks by margin, but I'm not going to bet it, so I'm off. And I expect Merrill Kelly to be good again.
Yeah, I expect him to be good. I never know what Cal Quantrill's going to do. I know he's not going to strike anybody out, but that's and Troy says, yeah, it's pretty close. So let's roll on. Next up for us is
game of the day.
I can't even take them. Sorry, I can't take the Diamondbacks on the -1 line. I mean, it's just too expensive.
It's minus 1.5 for nothing.
Yeah, it's oh, my 365 is freaking out. Okay, I got it.
By the way, shout out to Moose Money. This is now my game of the day after his comments. I'm excited to watch this game very much.
I've got the comments, but do you have them? I've got them too. I've got them.
Yeah.
Copy and paste. Okay, so why don't you drop the comments after I set up the game? Important notes on Joey Musgrove, who looked so good at times last year. We have a San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres. Padres now 2-1 to start the year. We're at Petco Park in San Diego, California. Let's get into the weather here in Petco. We have, always beautiful weather, but a little chilly.
1-0 Mets. 1-0 Mets. Starling Marte home run.
Yeah. We didn't warn you. 59 Fahrenheit, 9.3 miles per hour out to right field, between 9.3 and 10.5 miles per hour. It's cold, chilly there for them, not for us. From a total standpoint here, we have it's sitting at 8 now. This opened up at 7.5, moved to 8. It took a long time to get to 8, but the 8, and it's been sitting right where it moved, the initial move right around 1 in the morning at -101. So it's juiced to the under at 8. From a money line standpoint here, we are sitting with Musgrove at -144. Opened up at -148, now -141. So this has just moved in the last hour. I got to refresh this. So we have a move towards the San Francisco Giants. Then from a cash flow standpoint here, we have 67% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the under, and it's gone up.
Yep.
And we have 80% of the tickets and 71% of the cash on the San Diego Padres. Let's talk about Kyle Harrison. When he came up last year, he was the number 1 rated prospect, a pitching prospect in the league, 22-year-old lefty. And he looked good, 1.15 whip. He looked, he had a 4.15 ERA. He got tagged a couple times. He doesn't throw that hard, but he's still a lefty and deceiving. 34 2/3, 35 Ks, 11 walks. In spring, 17 Ks and 12 2/3, 6 earned runs, 8 walks. The Padres annihilate lefties. In 2023, they were 3rd in the league, hitting .271 with an .807 OPS. Joe Musgrove, on the other side, 10-3, 3.05 ERA, 1.14 whip. He was a wagon when he was healthy last year. You could trust him completely. You couldn't trust the Padres, but you could trust Joe Musgrove. In his first start, they win 15-11 in Game 2 in Korea. He gets lit up, 2 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks. He did not have a good spring. And we have a pitching coach named Moose Money. Moose Money. Let me drop this before Jose delivers it. That is Jose.
Well, that's a moose. Of all the things that get cut from what we use and what we don't use, that's stayed forever. It's stood the test of time. Shout out to Moose. He's a Padres fan. He stays on Giants team total over. His curveball is inconsistent, and apparently Moose is saying that he was battling an arm injury that no one really talked about. And it's very interesting. I went to go look at his spring training numbers. He had 3 starts, and I'm going to go ahead and say that February 22nd and 26th were when he had an arm injury, a 0-inning, 2-hit, no earned run or 4 earned runs, 2 hits, 4 earned runs there, and 0 innings pitched. Not good. Immediately comes out of the game, goes back a few days later, 1 2/3, another 4 innings or 4 earned runs there. So you're okay, great. So then he has to sit. He sits until March 13th and pitches against the Oakland A's, cushy, 4 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, makes you feel everyone better. Only 3 starts. One was after, a long extended break for what we're going to assume was an arm injury, an arm thing. And then he pitches well against the Oakland A's, and then he goes out there in Korea and gets shelled against the Dodgers. He's just not ready. There's just no way he's ready yet. There are, guys, except for everyone on the Rays. I don't know why the Rays pitchers have like 3 starts in spring altogether. Maybe because the Rays know they're going to blow their pitchers out anyways. So, but it's like 5 starts in the spring. It takes pitchers, 5-6 starts to get there. And he's had 3. I just think he's going to be a fade for this early part of the season. Now he'll probably figure his shit out and, get back to normal and be Joe Musgrove again, but I'll fade him while I can. So I joined Moose money on the team total over 3.5. I got it at -110. And yeah, I tweeted all these out, Jimmy. So we don't have to line shop or anything, make our lives easier. But yeah, so 3.5 -110. And as Johnny again, he likes the first 5 and full game over. Yeah, I'm on the over here as well. Full game 7.5, -125. I believe I got on that one. I don't love obviously taking juice totals. Doesn't make me feel great about myself. Yes, -125. Sorry. So yeah, I'm on that too. We talked about Harrison, good young pitcher, et cetera, et cetera. But the Padres fucking demolished lefties last year. Demolished them, last year. Second in the league, 123 weighted runs created plus against them. It's a tough start. Harrison faced them last year. Got crushed 5 2/3, 6 earned runs on 4 home runs that game. Now they lose Juan Soto, but he's a lefty, so they'll just throw another righty in there and probably make it all better. So I love this over spot here. I think Kelsey was asking for baseball play of the day. I think it's the over in this game or Giants team total. Now, I said that about the fucking under yesterday and it lost, so maybe don't listen to me when I'm talking about that. But I like this play the most. I'm on the over. I think Musgrove gets touched up, and then anything Harrison gives up is a bonus for me.
I want to be involved here. These bullpens as well that got taxed a little bit yesterday. We have the Padres, who are ranked 25th by Fangraphs coming into the year, and the Giants, who are ranked 21st. So I don't see why it wouldn't be a first 5 and full game here. Oh, okay. Thank you, Troy. Sorry. I don't see why it wouldn't be a first. This has got to be my first, double up here, because I just want, first 5 full game over. I guess this is my first double up of the season.
Yeah, and the only reason why I'm out on the money line for the Giants, I saw a lot of money line spots just because of the Padres being so good against lefties. So,
hey, OnlyFans cats, we only have a few rules in the chat. No racism, no sexism, but also no spam. So that's great. That's great that you cashed with picks from Dave. He's our friend. That's great. You've said it a couple times. That's great. Don't say it again. All right, we move on. 10:10 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Cardinals 0-1 at the LA Dodgers. 2-1, 1-1 at home. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Take a look at the weather here. 57 Fahrenheit, 9 miles per hour to straightaway center. It's chilly tonight in LA, and it's a pitcher's ballpark. So let's get into the line history here for this one. Our final game on the board before the horse race. Dodgers opened up at -220. That's exactly where they are right now. There's been no movement here on the money line. From a total standpoint here, we're sitting at 8.5, so it has dropped a little bit. Now it is juiced to the over. This opened up at 9 with +102 to the over, so it really hasn't moved, even though we're talking about an 8.5 juice to the over. It's basically, the same. From a cash flow standpoint here, we have 97% of the tickets, but 63% of the cash on the Dodgers. Now we've heard with Troy's database that this is a very good sign for these teams that are -200 or more. And it's important for me to hear, because with 3% of the tickets and 37% of the cash on the Cardinals, I would find the Cardinals appealing. And I think Zach Thompson is going to be really good. 26-year-old lefty. He went 5-7 last year, 4.48 ERA, 1.42 WHIP, 66 in the third, 72 Ks, 25 walks. Also had a really strong spring. Looked really good. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he's crafty. 18 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned runs, 14 Ks, and 6 walks. The Dodgers in 2023 versus lefties, they hit him hard. I have a vividness bias from, I don't know how long ago it was. Was it 3 years ago? Where that was their kryptonite. That was what we could use against the Dodgers, was against lefties. That's not been the case for at least 2 years. Jose can tell us what year it was, if he remembers it. 246 average, but 787 OPS. They can rake against lefties. Bobby Miller, 24 years old. He's really good. 11-4, 3.76 ERA, 1.10 WHIP, 124 in the third, 119 Ks, and 32 walks. And he had a strong spring. And it's important for these young kids to have a strong spring. And this guy, he's got incredible stuff. He hasn't put it all together, but looking at his numbers, I don't know why I say that. He was great last year. I don't know why. I don't remember him being that good. These are really nice numbers. But 13 innings, 14 hits. I mean, last year's numbers, the 1.10 WHIP, 119 Ks, and 124 innings, 32 walks. Strong spring, 13 innings, 14 hits, 4 earned runs, 9 Ks, and 3 walks. Take it away, Jose. Our last game on the board: Cardinals, Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pass again. I'm going to be on the hook for this all year, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to be as good as everyone says, et cetera, et cetera. But I just can't get there. And the main reason, and shout out to Troy, I'll be watching these run line spots very closely with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, because I told myself I wasn't going to bet any -1 run lines or anything like that this year. Because again, my fucking numbers with that were like -40 units. But if I could just isolate it down to only betting those spots, then yeah, I wouldn't hate it at all. So I lean Dodgers here. Truthfully, Zach Thompson, I didn't have much information on, and his starts last year, or his starts appearances, I should say, against the Dodgers were just relief, and it's like 1 inning, and it's just nothing that I can go off of. So pass game. But again, it's just like it's very appealing to me to fade the Dodgers at these high numbers just because it's just value. I just don't think the Dodgers, I think they should be like -150 here, honestly. But it's just nothing here for me. So I'll be very very interested to see how it goes. And yeah, Troy, I'll be watching for sure. And by the way, Jimmy, it is. I was watching that Dodgers game, obviously, and I watched every pitch to fucking hope the Cardinals would show some life. It is so hard to start your game off with Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. That is just, like, how do you start the game like that? If you're a pitcher, you're so fucked. And if Mookie gets on, if you walk him, if he gets a hit, whatever, he's going to get on second base because he's going to steal. And Ohtani is just really fucking good. And so is Freddie Freeman. So I just was, I was shocked. I was like, how the fuck can I, possibly fade this team day in and day out when I have to watch these 3 fucking guys who easily could win the MVP this year. And it's just, I just couldn't do it. So I passed. I'll be on team totals against the Dodgers and other games. I think Bobby Miller is going to be good, but this isn't a game for me.
Yeah, and I think Zach Thompson's going to be good. I think these are 2 great young pitchers. I want to watch them. I don't find this a betting spot that I want to attack. Let's review all action in MLB, then review the entire card, and then it's time for horses, and it is Friday. The weekend is here, and let's start this weekend like we finished yesterday by making money. So Jose got his card started with the Brewers team total over 3.5 at -118. I get my card started in 38 minutes, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch Spencer Strider against Zach Wheeler. Then I'm going to be on the Toronto Blue Jays at 6:50 p.m. Eastern. I am going to look for a live over in the Pirates-Marlins game. I also want the market to figure that itself out because I'd like to be on the Marlins, but I won't be on a bet that has 80% of tickets and 99% of the cash. Then Jose's on the Yankees double up first 5 in full game. I guess if I take Yankees first 5, then I'm not going up against BJ because BJ's best bet. the market is screaming for me to take the Yankees in some form or another. Scott, what's happening? It's great to see you, man. Then the Red Sox for me. I have to take the Boston Red Sox. Just have to take them. Matty Ice Taint played at ACL first 5 minus a half a plus 100. Again, I can take the Red Sox full game and not worry about being on the other side of Taint. And again, from the idea of the bullpen, do you think it's a mistake? Now, Seattle's bullpen is much higher rated. If you were going to back the Red Sox, would it be a first 5 or full game spot here?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
Well, why don't you think about it while I'm reviewing action here? Then we have Guardians A's. We've stayed off, as we have with Rockies Arizona. Then we come to a game that we're all over. Jose's got the Giants team total over 3.5 and the full game over 7.5. And I want to join, but I don't want to pick just one spot. I want both teams involved. So I'm going to take I expect at this point to take the first 5 over and the full game over. I expect to do that. I expect that to be my first double up spot. And then Cardinals, Dodgers, we have stayed off. So, Jose, do you have and it's okay if you don't really have what
this question has brought me to tears, apparently. I'm out here fucking sobbing now thinking about it. It's tough. Yeah. And the issue is that Kenley and Chris Martin both went yesterday, 15 pitches. They're the guys this year. So,
yeah.
And I'm not like terrified of the Mariners bullpen either. So I guess it's first 5, but it's only first 5. And it's not like just because I'm fading like George Kirby. I think he's fucking incredible. So
yeah, I agree.
So yeah, it's a tough one, but I guess first 5 would be my choice. I just trust the Red Sox pitching more in the first 5 than I do in the rest of the game.
I've got to figure that out. But I think that is worth backing. Now, at this time of the year, Boston's only played one game. Could Kenley Jensen and Martin go again today?
Definitely. But I
maybe
think
they'll 15 pitches. Maybe they'll even be better today. Is that a possibility?
Well, I was maybe concerned about the diminishing returns of them being tired because they're both old as fuck. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if they went again today. It's just like, do I want them after 15 pitches and not their absolute freshest? Probably not. But I go back and forth. It's tough.
Okay. All right. Well, that is our MLB action. Let's review all action on today's show. And then we have our horse race for gold members. And we had a bunch of new gold members sign up today. Kelsey was the last one. And we thank you all, our gold members. $50 American up for grabs. Let's review all action. Morgan Spooner on Brewers money line. We talked all about the Cappers backing it. Perky on him as well. Justin McKelvey, Stacks play today. Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases. Smooth balls play today. Ross Stripling under 3.5 strikeouts. Then we have a money line parlay from Big Scott. Big Scott giving us the Braves and the Phillies first 5 under 4.5, and the Diamondbacks on the run line. That's a plus 210. Joe T is on Milwaukee first 5. The pig milk play of the day is New Jersey Buffalo over 6.5. Bobano went on the Devils team total over 3.5 and the full game over 6.5. I read out the New Jersey Devils defense with 2 injuries, and they're both day to day. Now, really 3 injuries. You know, if you include Dougie Hamilton, but I can't back them. And I blame Tom Fitzgerald. Then when we get into college basketball, Bobano gave us NC State money line plus 260. He gave us the over 153.5 at minus 125 in Gonzaga, Purdue. I'm going to be on Purdue first half and full game. Tone Miggins gave us Houston first half minus 2.5. Bobano's on Houston minus 3.5, minus 125. And until there's a sign that the books are concerned about all the money coming in on Houston, I just got to sit on the sidelines and watch. I trust the X's and O's that you guys broke down, but the market has to correlate. Bobano's on Creighton plus 3.5, minus 108. I expect to be on Tennessee. I do want a little bit more time on that. Yeah, Kelsey, I couldn't do it. I wanted the Devils. I couldn't get there. I can't back that defense. I don't want to fade the Sabres off being embarrassed. It just, I come in planning on betting the Devils, but wanted to talk it out. We talked it out, and I got off of it. I got enough action today. I can let NHL go, and I'm going to cap tomorrow's card. Is what it is. So then we get into NBA. Bobano on the over 242.5 in Lakers Pacers, and the Pacers minus 3.5. I want in on the Pacers. Bobano's on the over 211.5 in Clippers Magic. I'm very interested in the Magic, but I do want to see the cash flow. We haven't been able to see that yet. We've only seen them ticket flow. Bobano's on the Pistons plus 4.5. Bulls Brooklyn, no action. Bobano's on the Sixers plus 8.5. Bobano's on the over 208.5 in Portland Miami. Bobano's on OKC plus 2. I plan on moving on OKC plus 2. I'm hoping that Nurkic plays. And when the gamblers actually understand that Shea's not in the lineup, that the line moves even more towards the Suns. Then Bobano on the over 213 at minus 105 in Knicks Spurs. I'm going to be on the Spurs. I'd like to be on the Nuggets, but I do want to spend a little longer on that. Trill OG play today's Rockets team total over 118.5. Bobano is on the Rockets minus 7.5. I'm going to be on the Sacramento Kings. Bobano on the over 231.5. And other action from our cappers in the chat. BJ's best bet, Astros money line. Also Houston Cougars money line. TJ's best bet, Toronto first 5 at even money. Isaiah B gave us Mets money line best bet. Lamont Williams gave us Tampa Bay run line best bet. Hunter Engelhart gave us Jays first half money line 2 units. Jays first half plus 1.5 and first half under 4.5 parlay. Mets first half minus 0.5 for a unit. Cleveland first half minus 0.5. And Cleveland full game minus 1.5. Seattle, Boston full game over 7.5. Moose Money gave us that San Francisco Giants team total over. And DC Capper in college basketball gave us a Marquette minus 7, Tennessee minus 3.5, Houston under 134.5, Purdue minus 5, Georgia under 144.5 from our guy DC Capper. And then
are you betting Purdue?
First half and full game.
Okay. JP,
I do want to sit with it I mean, has anything I just need to see if anything's changed, from the situation. That's why, when we get to the point where we put in the bets, that's why I tweeted out just so everyone knows, because there are things that, things do change with the market, that will lead me to stay off it. And I'll tell you what happens. What happens is I see it as being, if it becomes a very public play and the line maybe moves back a half point to the other side, well, I just won't bet it.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that way about the Brewers today. If I would have waited to make my Brewers team total bet until the show, I probably would have just stayed off because the Mets just ridiculous numbers in that opening day. But we'll see.
Well, we saw the market move towards the Mets there after you made your bet. That's I'm going to try my hardest not to come with pregame action.
That's what I've been trying to do as well. Yeah,
it's just totals. I mean, you got to beat certain line moves, and I felt like I had to get in on that 4 at minus 125. When I saw Pinnacle at minus 133, there was no talking about it. And if you see your money line being steamed, you'll want to move on. So since our show, there's been a half point move towards the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So it was 5.5. We're back to 5 now. So
I said that, but thank God Christian Yelich just hit a home run. I believe it was Christian Yelich. So 1-1.
Okay, great, beautiful. That's going to help because we got a lot of guys on that Brewers first 5. So that's
and as we just said all this, you can consider live betting the Mets. So those are all considerations as well for you guys.
It's full steam ahead on Purdue. Gonzaga still has 59% of tickets, 77% cash. I don't care. Let's come back at half points. Full steam ahead on Purdue. So there you go. This is going to be a really tough 2 weeks. It's going to be really, really tough until it's going to get a tiny bit easier, when we get to the Final Four. I mean, capping will take a little. But it won't get easier really until NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs. So we've got 2 weeks where it's just it's the toughest 2 weeks of the year for me. These are the sports I want to bet the most, and then the importance of starting out the year strong. But I know this is fun. It's just the work is so hard right now, and the hours are so painstaking that I'm just a mess. So
yeah, of course, losing's not fun. So you have to put in the work to win.
Absolutely, you get out of life what you put into life. Here we go. It is horse time here. King Al says, "What's your best NBA?" For something like that, I'm just so frazzled. I'm barely sleeping. We put so much work in this card. I would need to sit here and not enjoy the horse race. It is Friday, and I can kind of take a breath here. We got a little bit of time before. Can we add a minute to this horse race?
Wow! You're feeling real good, huh?
I want to enjoy this one. Let's go. Let's add a minute.
A minute.
Now you do not want. Now for the first time, early speed almost cashed yesterday with me. I came second with the early speed. I came second. Jose, would you like to call? I like hearing your horse sound. I like you calling the first half, but would you prefer calling the second half?
No, I'll call the first half.
Okay.
No problems.
All right.
Appreciate
And
everyone.
how many entries do we have?
67
Ooh.
entries.
Ooh,
67 entries. We appreciate you guys.
I'm going to talk to Jeff and see at what number do we add to the purse. So
I hope it's 100. I mean, it makes sense if it was 100,
you know. 100 and go to $100. And there's Kelsey at the bottom of the screen, our newest gold member. JP's injecting his horse. A lot of fun here. There's Untouchable Jay in the house. What up, Untouchable Jay? It is a 2-miler, Johnny Guns. This is a marathon race for us here.
Horses don't get tired.
And also, thank you guys all for being gold members and supporting our channel. Let's get that cash. Jose, take us home.
Yes, we appreciate everyone that is a member. Julian, by the way, I haven't checked the bracket contest standings yet, so definitely do check those. And if you have a problem with how they're scored, saturated, keep emailing pubsportsradio@gmail.com.
There's a problem with the scoring?
I don't know. I just see a saturated emailing about like, oh, my score's not updated. I'm like, yeah, me and Jimmy, we do not update the scores. And if I did, obviously there'd be a lot of math problems wrong. So yes, so there's that. Untouchable Jay, great question. How do you join this debauchery that we call the horse race? You just become PSR Gold member. We've had a couple people do it today. I think there's like a money sign or a join button in there. All you have to do is hit join and hit the gold membership, $9.99 a month. You get entered in 2 of these races a week, and the winner gets $50. It's a great time. It's a great time, and I love doing it. It's very fun. So thank you guys. As always, I'll give you guys a moment and shout you guys out one more time. Rez, appreciate you. And the chat has been very fiery today, to say the least.
Rez says, turn my horse around. He's not facing the correct way, says Rez.
Well, we have to get that bitch in the canal somehow, Rez. Oh, and I'll give everyone another real quick moment to join. We do have our first videos from Pubapalooza coming out, 2 of them. One available right now, and it's going right now. The ping pong game with Jimmy and Spenny is going right now. And I'll give you guys a little sneak preview as we load up on the canals here.
Got paid in full, by the way, Jose. Paid in full in that.
Oh, you got paid?
Paid in full. Of course, it was paid in full. Yeah, feels good.
Yeah,
undefeated at Pubapalooza, undefeated in ping pong and NBA Jam in my Pubapalooza career.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Congratulations. But I'm sure a lot of people and some people in the chat have already watched this video saying, what happened the entire weekend? Where can I watch everything that happened in the entire weekend? Well, shout out to our guy T, made a vlog of the weekend. Here's a preview.
And all the what are they playing? We need all the money. Or NC's playing the LoBaggers. Take care of our families. All this
I mean, obviously.
Obviously.
I'll
get $10 if you want to park. But Jose.
Screams of giddy. He's just giddy. He's just a happy man. That Mike M. He was just a great spot. That Mike M. All right. We appreciate everyone. I'll let you guys all gather around. The horses are in their canals. The Tapeta is looking pristine.
It's not Tapeta, it's turf.
We're off and racing insane. Jimmy, we buy the expensive turf here. Tapeta, turf, all the same here when you've got money.
Not the same. Jimmy. It's not the same. Very different.
All right. We appreciate everyone, guys. 140 left in this race and a 2-minute race here. Oh, look at Nuss Flush Allen bursting out here, catching up here. Philly Eagle Flyer, the big Ragu in the mix. Jimmy the Bag, who's starting to be a staple in the front. Oh, and there he goes. And there he goes falling down. He might have shattered a fibula. Billy Friedrich in the mix here as well. Kelsey in the mix down below. Kelsey, shuffling around, not in the back of the pack, who knows? Kelsey might win her first race. Nut Flush in here. Fat Wally making a charge right now. Nut Flush Allen. There goes Nut Flush Allen. He's dead. He's done.
There goes Wally. Wally moving in the wrong direction.
Oh, no.
Kelsey still up front. Said Porter making move. There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy. Moving backwards now. I shouldn't have yelled out his name. Rude Boy taking a move to the front. And Rico. We got Rico Lopez and Rude Boy moving to the front. We are getting to the 3/4 pole here. Here comes LJ from H-Town. And LJ from H-Town making a real serious move. Craig Wilkinson. And here comes Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat trying to get involved. We're coming around the stretch here. We're coming around the clubhouse turn. Gerald Jones trying to get home with 20 seconds left. And here comes Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza in the beautiful white horse. It's Atreyu going to the front. Atreyu going from the Big D. Big D wants a slice.
Oh, my God.
10 seconds left in this race. Here comes Gerald Jones. Here comes Dutch Woodfresh. Here comes Joey Harb. Joey Harb going to be a 2-time winner. Is Joey
Oh, my God.
Joey, 2-time winner this week. He's won back-to-back races.
Wow.
Harb winning back-to-back, $100 richer.
Wow.
I did
Joey, go play the fucking lottery today, Joey. That's back-to-back 61 shots.
What a race. And Tori Coker was so convinced that his horse wouldn't make the top 10, and he was right. Oh, there's Joey. There is Joey. Joey back to back. Wow.
God damn.
Wow.
Kelly wants an inquiry. Needs to drug test that horse ASAP.
Oh, we drug test all the horses. We drug test all the horses.
We make sure they're all drugged up. That's the testing.
We don't drug test the jockeys or the owners.
No.
Let's see who came last.
Oh, let us do the gradual scroll to the bottom here. We have Big Scott in 20th, Lexicon in 23rd, J-Dub in 29th.
Kelsey 31st in her first race.
Congratulations.
And you're 34th. We're right there.
There we go. Big Ragu in the mix. A lot of horses. Now Flush Allen, who was in the lead for a lot of the
again,
horses.
struggling. This guy, 46.
Can't catch a break.
46 today.
All right. Who is it?
Who is
Cheshire Cat second. Ronnie.
Oh, wrong. Tori Coker said this horse wouldn't come in the top 10. He's right. Oh, that's funny. Oh, Randall Sheffield. We have 68.
Oh, we had 68. Congrats for
Randall Sheffield. Wow, that's funny. Tori Coker, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. The next horse. Oh, the next horse show. Sorry, I thought you were next horse. We are in talks right now about the Santa Anita Derby in 8 days. We're in talks about it. I can't guarantee it at this point, but we're in talks about that. I mean, we'll do the 3 Triple Crown races 100%. So we'll, but I can't confirm at this point that it will be. If we weren't just back from polluting ourselves in San Antonio, we would be doing it tomorrow, obviously. But we'll discuss. It could very well be the Santa Anita Derby.
By the way, I have to look it up again. Shout out to my Lord and Savior Martin Drexler. He has 2 horses today, both in race 4 Gulfstream. So I'm SOL.
Yeah, sadly, no show tomorrow, Sky Dragon.
No show tomorrow. However, I will tell people, obviously, Say Hey Plays on the weekend is back, of course. Important. Yeah, Say Hey Plays on the weekend.
Who's the first guest of the year?
First guest of the year, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. One Dabby Cab will join us,
nice.
of course. Maybe we'll talk about his outright refusal to play you in ping pong. Who knows?
Yeah, outright refusal.
Refusal. Like, he wouldn't even stand up out of his chair, But then once he asked, "Oh, let's go to the pitching mound." Everyone, of course, we just
went back
around.
inside. We went back inside. Yeah.
We turned around and did that. So, yeah, of course. But, yes, I'll be on live 11 a.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. The very controversial Picks from Dave also will be joining me on Sunday as well. So who knows? If none of these random accounts that say that they're Dave are in the chat on Sunday, maybe we'll have more validity to find out if all of those counts are picks from Dave, So like if Kelsey isn't in the chat, obviously she's picks from Dave. So we'll see how all that works out.
Kelsey's now a gold member. So
yeah, I mean, I have tons of respect for Kelsey. Cheshire Cat, maybe it's Cheshire Cat 7 accounts, but Cheshire Cat's a gold member. So I respect Cheshire Cat.
All the gold members I trust implicitly.
Yeah. So if Cheshire Cat or picks from Dave or OnlyFans Cat or whoever wants to become, PSLR Gold members, who am I to, slander you? Who am I?
All right. When's my first game start? It starts in 17 minutes. 17 minutes. So I can have time to get my action in. I'm really excited. I'm really excited what we did yesterday to start the year, Jose. Imagine if we didn't get off to a winning start. How horrifying
it would be.
Just shaking.
It would have been less fun. I would have told you that. It would have been less fun, to say the least. But it's going to be a good day. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. And we needed that home run to feel better.
I'd like to give another shout out to everybody in the chat. Cheshire Cat, J Dub, Tori Coker, Top Crocodile, Justin McKelvey, Jay Peasy, Kelsey, Rez Mob, Joey Harb. Congratulations, Joey Harb. It was great watching you rock it. Johnny Gunn says, take the NC State under and let's talk about it tomorrow. Phoenix, thank you for being here. Sky Dragon, a Rube Boy. You guys are the backbone, man. Big O, Saturated, Chris, Untouchable J. Thank you guys, truly. The Dapper Capper, Kent Davies, my guy Kent Davies, DJ Promethazine and Cayenne. I think I pronounced that right. Dom Play up in here. King Al. If you hit me on Twitter, I'm going to need a little bit of time to sit with the card. Thank you guys. Thank you. Truly, truly, truly thank you. Res Mob, all you guys for having our back. OLD, AOD, sports betting and poker. Thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you from Jeff Slaughter and all of us at Pub Sport Radio. Thank you for your support. Now let's go get that cash, Jose. Let's go get that paper, man. Can you and Jose, great job again. It's going to be a fun year as long as we're in the black. Can you let's say us into the future and bless all our action?
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys. Like Jimmy said, we won't go over the list of names again, but thanks you guys. Thank everyone for watching. Appreciate it.
Jim, thank you, my man.
Yes, Fanatical Jim. I love you and appreciate you, my guy. Everyone that was at Publipalooza, thank you guys as well. Nuke, all you guys, appreciate it. And don't worry, Jimmy. We'll get down to the bottom of all this, multiple accounts. I'll just ask Dave. On Sunday, and we'll see if he turns beet red like your jersey. We'll know. Or
if he turns ghost white.
Oh, that'll also help as well. So it'll be fun. But we appreciate everyone. And by the way, obviously, I like Dave. I like Dave, and I was just joking about Cheshire Cat too as well. So I love you too, Cheshire Cat. So
yeah, absolutely.
These are all jokes. But
it's all fun and games until you're losing.
Yes. Yeah. No. If this was negative 2 point some units on my record, I would be accusing everyone very seriously.
The show would have been over 45 minutes ago.
Yes, 100%. There wouldn't have been a horse race. We would have just ended the show. So appreciate all you guys. Thanks, everyone. Let's go fucking milk these motherfuckers, guys. Let's go fucking milk these guys because we're still going from man and womanhood, guys. We're still rocking for it. Leche, a los bookmaker.